The air of the Pennsylvania wilds carries a specific weight, a mixture of damp hemlock needles, crushed wintergreen, and the ancient, brooding silence of the Allegheny Plateau. You stand at the edge of a gravel pull-off near Rockton, the sky above a bruised shade of violet as dusk begins to settle over the ridges. Beside you, the Witcher stands perfectly still, his yellow eyes tracking the movement of a hawk circling high above the canopy. Geralt of Rivia does not belong to this world, yet he fits the rugged, unforgiving landscape of Clearfield County as if he were carved from its very stone. He adjusts the leather strap of the silver sword resting against his back, the metal catching the last faint rays of the dying sun. He turns his head slightly, his white hair gleaming like frost in the dimming light. His voice, when he finally speaks, is a low, rhythmic rasp that seems to vibrate in your very marrow. He tells you to breathe. He tells you that the path ahead is not measured in miles, but in the steady rhythm of your own heart. He instructs you to close your eyes for a moment, even as the wind whistles through the skeletal branches of the oaks. Inhale the scent of the coming night, he says. Smell the cold water of the nearby runs, the decaying leaves that form a thick, spongy carpet over the earth, and the faint, metallic tang of the lichen clinging to the boulders. Take a deep, slow breath through your nose, feeling the chill air fill your lungs until they expand against your ribs. Hold it there, suspended in the stillness, counting the beats of your pulse against the silence of the woods. Then, release it slowly through your mouth, imagining the tension leaving your shoulders like smoke rising from a dying campfire. Geralt watches you, his senses far more acute than any human's, ensuring that your cadence matches the slow, deep respiration of the forest itself. He reminds you that out here, in the shadows of Rockton, haste is a weakness. To find the garden, you must walk with the patience of a mountain. You begin to walk. The ground beneath your boots is uneven, a labyrinth of protruding roots and slick, moss-covered stones. Geralt leads the way with a predator's grace, his footsteps making no sound upon the dry debris of the forest floor. He gestures for you to follow in his wake, stepping exactly where he steps. Watch the earth, he mutters, his eyes never ceasing their scan of the undergrowth. Notice the way the ferns curl inward as the temperature drops. Notice the tracks of the white-tailed deer, the sharp, cloven prints pressed into the dark mud near a trickling spring. He pauses by a massive, ancient hemlock, its trunk so wide that 3 men could not link hands around it. He places a gloved hand against the bark and tells you to do the same. Feel the texture, he commands. Feel the ridges and the deep furrows of the wood. This tree has stood since before the settlers named this place, before the mines were dug, before the legends of the Rockton Forest took shape. It breathes just as you do, only slower, drawing its strength from the deep, hidden aquifers beneath the mountain. As you move deeper into the uncharted territory, the canopy thickens until the stars are blotted out by a ceiling of interlocking branches. The darkness here is absolute, yet Geralt moves without hesitation. He explains that the senses must be decoupled from the eyes. Listen to the snapping of a twig 100 yards to your left. That is a black bear, moving toward its den. Listen to the rhythmic hooting of a barred owl, the sound echoing through the hollows like a ghostly question. Your breathing remains steady, a low, consistent ebb and flow that keeps your mind anchored to the present moment. Geralt speaks of the monsters that haunt the shadows of his own world, but he notes that here, in the Pennsylvania wilds, the magic is quieter, woven into the very chemistry of the soil. He stops by a massive outcropping of sandstone, the rock weathered into strange, undulating shapes that resemble the ribs of a giant. This is the gateway, he whispers. Beyond these stones lies the garden that the locals speak of in hushed tones, the place where the veil between the mundane and the enchanted wears thin. He reaches into a pouch at his belt and produces a small vial of clear liquid, which he uncorks with a sharp flick of his thumb. The scent of buckthorn and honey wafts into the air. He does not drink it, but instead holds it toward the wind, allowing the vapors to mingle with the forest scent. The garden requires an invitation, he explains. It requires a mind that is empty of worry and a body that is a vessel for the earth's energy. He tells you to visualize a golden light at the base of your spine, a warmth that begins to glow with every inhalation. As you breathe in, the light rises, traveling up the column of your vertebrae, warming your chest, your throat, and finally blossoming behind your eyes. As you breathe out, the light spreads downward, through your hips, your knees, and into the soles of your feet, connecting you to the dark, rich loam beneath you. You are no longer a visitor in these woods, you are a part of the landscape, as much a fixture as the stone and the timber. The air begins to change. The biting chill of the autumn night is replaced by a soft, humid warmth that carries the fragrance of blooming jasmine, damp earth, and crushed mint. You step through a narrow fissure in the sandstone rocks, and suddenly, the forest opens up into a hidden glade that defies the laws of the seasons. Below you, a valley glows with a faint, bioluminescent light. It is the Garden of Rockton, a sanctuary hidden by the folds of the mountains and the ancient charms of the earth. Gerald stands at the edge of the descent, his silhouette stark against the shimmering greens and blues of the flora below. "Look," he says simply. "This is the reward for the long walk through the dark." He guides you down a path of soft white sand, each step feeling lighter than the last. The flowers here are unlike any you have ever seen, their petals are translucent, pulsing with a gentle rhythm that matches your own heartbeat. Gerald finds a flat, mossy bank beside a stream that flows with water as clear as liquid diamond. He sits, crossing his legs, and gestures for you to do the same. The water makes a melodic, tinkling sound as it tumbles over smooth quartz pebbles. He tells you to focus on that sound. Let the noise of the stream wash away the lingering thoughts of the world outside. There are no debts here, no deadlines, no sorrows that cannot be mended by the silence. He instructs you to take 10 deep breaths, each one deeper than the last. 1. Inhale the scent of the glowing lilies. 2. Exhale the fatigue from your limbs. 3. Inhale the silver light of the moon reflecting off the water. 4. Exhale the tension in your jaw. 5. Feel the warmth of the enchanted garden seeping into your skin. 6. Let your heart slow to the pace of the wind in the high pines. 7. Recognize the strength in your own body. 8. Acknowledge the wisdom of the Witcher sitting beside you. 9. Surrender to the peace of the hidden valley. 10. Become one with the stillness. Gerald closes his eyes, his rugged features softening in the magical light. He tells you that you can remain here as long as you need. The garden will keep its secrets, and the forest will guard your path. You feel a profound sense of safety, protected by the silver sword and the ancient magic of the Pennsylvania wilds. The rhythmic breathing continues, a steady, pulsing connection to the living world around you. You are at rest. You are home. The Witcher remains seated, a mountain of quiet strength against the backdrop of the luminous valley. His presence is a grounding force, a heavy anchor in a world that feels increasingly like a dream. You watch the way his chest rises and falls, a slow and deliberate movement that mimics the steady respiration of the earth itself. He does not move, yet he is entirely present, his awareness radiating outward like the ripples on the surface of the diamond stream. The silence of the garden is not a void, it is a tapestry woven from the most delicate threads of sound. You hear the soft, rhythmic folding of the translucent petals as they react to the cooling air. You hear the microscopic scuttle of insects with wings like spun glass, moving among the stalks of the glowing lilies. Every sound is a note in a symphony of natural order, and as you sit there, you find yourself becoming a part of that arrangement. Gerald speaks again, his voice even lower now, a mere vibration that seems to originate from the stone beneath you rather than his throat. He tells you to turn your internal gaze toward the center of your being. Do not look with your eyes, he says, but with the intuition that lives in the marrow of your bones. He asks you to imagine the lineage of your own life, stretching back like the roots of the great hemlock you touched on the mountain. Think of the paths you have walked, the briars that have caught at your clothes, and the clearings where you have found temporary rest. All of it, he whispers, has led to this single point of intersection. The garden does not exist in spite of the wilderness, it exists because of it. Without the dark climb, without the biting wind of the ridges, the warmth of this sanctuary would have no meaning. He encourages you to lean back slightly, feeling the damp, cushioned moss support the weight of your spine. The moss is cool, yet it pulses with a faint, underlying heat, as if the soil itself were a living engine. As you settle into the earth, Geralt directs your attention to the rhythm of your blood. Can you feel it, he asks, the thrumming in your fingertips? That is the same energy that moves the sap through the trees. It is the same fire that burns in the core of the stars. He instructs you to visualize this internal fire as a soft, amber glow, centered in your solar plexus. With every breath you take, imagine this glow expanding, moving through your ribcage, softening the muscles around your heart, and flowing down into your stomach. It is a light of preservation, he says. It is the light that keeps the Witchers alive in the freezing mountain passes of Kaer Morhen, and it is the light that will carry you back through the shadows when the time comes to leave. You find your eyelids growing heavy, but you do not close them fully. Instead, you watch the way the bioluminescent flora casts long, dancing shadows across Geralt's face. His scars, usually so stark and jagged, seem to soften under the influence of the garden's radiance. He looks less like a slayer of monsters and more like a guardian of the threshold. He tells you a story then, not of battles or contracts, but of a hidden grove in a valley far to the east of the continent, a place where the air tasted of summer wine and the deer spoke in the language of the wind. He speaks of the stillness he found there, a brief moment of reprieve in a life defined by violence and gold. He tells you that every soul needs a Rockton, a place where the silver sword can be laid aside, if only for a few hours. The air in the glade grows thicker with the scent of crushed mint and something older, something that smells of ozone and ancient stone. Geralt notes the shift, his yellow eyes narrowing slightly as he tastes the air. The garden is breathing with us, he observes. It responds to the clarity of your intent. He asks you to reach out your hand and hover it just above the surface of the stream. Do not touch the water yet, he cautions. Just feel the interface where the air meets the liquid. You do as he says, and you can feel a distinct tingling in your palm, a static charge that makes the fine hairs on your arm stand up. The water is not merely hydrogen and oxygen, it is a conduit for the memory of the plateau. It has traveled through the deep coal seams, through the limestone caverns, and under the roots of 1,000 oaks to reach this point. Now, he says, dip your fingers into the flow. The water is shockingly cold, a sharp contrast to the humid warmth of the glade, but it does not bite. Instead, the chill acts as a clarifier, a sudden bolt of lucidity that snaps your wandering thoughts back into a sharp, singular focus. You feel the current tugging at your skin, a persistent, gentle pressure that wants to carry away everything that no longer serves you. Geralt tells you to name those things in your mind. Name the anxieties that keep you awake in the world above. Name the regrets that sit like lead in your belly. Name the fears that whisper to you in the gray hours of the morning. As you name them, imagine them dissolving into the stream, turning into dark ink that the clear water instantly dilutes and carries away, down the valley, through the sandstone fissure, and back into the deep belly of the earth where they can be recycled into something new. You leave your hand in the water for a long time, watching as the ripples break around your wrist. The flickering light of the flowers reflects in the moving water, creating patterns that look like shifting runes. Geralt watches the patterns with you, his expression unreadable but his presence comforting. He explains that the world is full of such patterns, if only one has the patience to look. Most people, he says, rush through the woods looking for the exit. They never see the way the lichen grows in the shape of constellations. They never hear the way the wind hums a different tune when it passes through a pine versus a maple. To be a witcher is to be a student of these details. To be a meditator is to become the detail itself. He tells you to withdraw your hand and place it back on your knee. The evaporation of the water leaves your skin feeling cool and strangely energized. Your breathing has reached a state of effortless equilibrium. You are no longer conscious of the act of inhaling or exhaling, it is simply happening, a natural function of the environment you have entered. The Witcher stands up, his movements as fluid as a shadow. He does not tell you to rise, but you find yourself standing with him, your body feeling lighter, as if the gravity of the Pennsylvania wilds has lost its grip on you. He begins to walk slowly along the perimeter of the glade, and you follow, noticing the way the glowing plants lean toward him as he passes, as if acknowledging a kin. He stops before a wall of weeping willow branches that trail into a pool of still water. Behind the curtain of leaves, there is a small cavern, its entrance framed by clusters of shimmering amethyst. "This is the heart of the garden," Geralt says, his voice dropping to a whisper that barely carries over the sound of the stream. "It is a place of total reflection." He gestures for you to enter first. Inside, the air is perfectly still, and the light is a soft, diffused violet. In the center of the cavern lies a pool of water so calm that it looks like a sheet of dark glass. There is no current here, no ripples. Geralt stands at the entrance, leaning against the stone. "Look into the pool," he says. "But do not look for your face. Look for the person you are when there is no one around to watch." You peer into the depths of the still water. At first, you see only the reflection of the violet crystals and the dark ceiling of the cave. But as you continue to breathe, as you maintain the steady rhythm that the Witcher taught you, the image begins to change. You see a version of yourself that looks stripped of all pretension, a figure carved from the same rugged determination that defines the landscape outside. You see the strength in your own eyes, a resilience that you often forget you possess. The Witcher's voice drifts into the cavern. "The monsters we hunt," he says, "are often just the shadows of our own doubts. In this pool, those shadows have no place to hide. You stand there for what feels like hours, though it may only be minutes, communing with the silence of the amethyst chamber. You feel a profound sense of integration, a stitching together of the fragmented parts of your psyche. The garden has done its work. The walk through the dark, the climb over the sandstone ribs, and the deep breathing by the stream have all been a preparation for this moment of absolute clarity. When you finally turn away from the pool and step back out into the glade, the world seems even more vivid than before. The colors of the bioluminescent plants are sharper, the scent of the mint more pungent, and the sound of the stream more melodic. Geralt is waiting for you, his arms crossed over his chest. He gives a small, nearly imperceptible nod of approval. He knows what you found in the cave, not because he saw it, but because he sees the change in the way you carry yourself. Your shoulders are down, your jaw is relaxed, and your eyes hold a steady, quiet fire. "It is time to return," he says. "The night does not last forever, and the world above still turns." But he reminds you that the garden does not disappear just because you leave it. It remains here, tucked into the folds of the Rockton Ridges, a sanctuary that you can revisit in your mind whenever the weight of the world becomes too much to bear. All you have to do is find the rhythm of your breath. All you have to do is remember the scent of the damp hemlock and the feel of the ancient stone. He leads you back toward the sandstone fissure, the gateway. As you pass through the narrow opening, the humid warmth of the garden begins to fade, replaced once again by the crisp, biting air of the Pennsylvania night. But the chill no longer feels hostile. It feels like a homecoming. You emerge onto the high ridge, the stars now visible through the thinning canopy, scattered across the violet sky like spilled diamonds. The owl hoots again in the distance, a familiar greeting. Geralt stops at the edge of the gravel pull-off where your journey began. The Witcher's work is never done, he says, his gaze drifting toward the dark silhouette of the distant mountains. There are always more paths to walk, more shadows to navigate. But for now, the path is clear. He turns to look at you one last time, his yellow eyes reflecting the faint starlight. Keep your breathing steady, he reminds you. Do not let the haste of others dictate your pace. You have the strength of the mountain in you now. He adjusts the strap of his sword and begins to walk away, his figure merging with the deep shadows of the oaks until only the faint, rhythmic sound of his boots on the gravel remains. You stand there for a moment, alone in the silence of the Pennsylvania wilds. You take one more deep, slow breath, feeling the cold air fill your lungs, and for the first time in a long time, you feel completely, unshakably at peace. The forest is quiet, the night is vast, and your heart beats with the steady, measured pulse of a world that is ancient, beautiful, and alive. The crunch of the gravel beneath your own boots sounds different now, more resonant, as if the earth itself is more solid than it was an hour ago. You watch the space where the Witcher vanished, the darkness of the Pennsylvania wilds swallowing his white hair and gray pauldrons until there is nothing left but the sigh of the wind through the high hemlocks. The silence that follows is not empty. It is a thick, textured thing, layered with the history of the Allegheny Plateau and the lingering magic of the hidden glade you just departed. You stand by your vehicle, or perhaps just at the edge of the paved world, and you feel the transition acutely. The air here is sharper, thinner than the humid, perfumed atmosphere of the garden, yet your lungs handle it with a newfound ease. Every inhalation is a conscious act of reclaiming your space in the physical world. You look down at your hands in the dim starlight. They look the same, but they feel heavier, more capable. The memory of the cold stream water still clings to your skin like an invisible glove, a reminder of the impurities you left behind in the dark glass of the cavern. You find yourself mimicking Geralt's posture without thinking, your feet planted firmly, your weight distributed evenly across your heels and the balls of your feet. You are a mountain. You are a fixture of the landscape. The internal amber glow he spoke of hasn't faded, it has merely settled into a steady, low-burning coal in the center of your chest, providing a quiet warmth that defies the mounting frost of the Rockton night. Internal monologue drifts through your mind like wood smoke. You think about the path back to the life you knew before this walk. The roads of Clearfield County, the small towns with their flickering yellow streetlights, the hum of electricity, and the frantic pace of digital clocks. Usually, the thought of returning to the grid brings a tightening in the throat, a subtle clenching of the jaw. But tonight, as you stand in the shadow of the ridges, that tension is absent. You realize that the garden was not a place you traveled to, but a state of being you uncovered. The sandstone gateway was merely a metaphor for the opening of your own perception. Geralt didn't lead you to a different world, he led you to the depth of this one. You take a slow step toward the driver's side door, but stop, your hand hovering over the cold metal. You aren't ready to break the silence just yet. You turn back toward the forest, peering into the wall of black trunks and tangled mountain laurel. Somewhere in there, a bobcat might be prowling, its paws making the same silent contact with the earth that Geralt's did. Somewhere, the ancient hemlock continues its slow, tectonic respiration. You close your eyes again, just for a moment, and test the Witcher's lesson. You reach out with your hearing, decoupling it from your sight. Away to the north, the faint, rhythmic rushing of the Susquehanna River's headwaters whispers against the stones. Closer, the dry oak leaves dance across the macadam, a frantic, scratching sound that would have seemed lonely before, but now sounds like a conversation. You listen to the sound of your own blood moving past your ears, a rhythmic thrum that matches the swaying of the trees. You feel the immense weight of the mountain beneath you, miles of rock and mineral and fossilized memory, supporting you with an indifference that is strangely comforting. You are not a burden to the earth, you are a part of its crust. You finally open the car door, the creak of the hinges sounding like a thunderclap in the stillness. The interior of the car smells of stale coffee and upholstery, a mundane scent that briefly threatens to shatter the spell. But you breathe through it. You sit behind the wheel and do not immediately reach for the ignition. Instead, you sit in the dark, hands resting lightly on the steering wheel, and continue the count. 1, 2, 3. You watch the way the starlight glints off the windshield, creating tiny, fractured galaxies in the glass. You think of the silver sword resting against Geralt's back and the way he spoke of monsters. You understand now that the greatest protection against the shadows is not steel, but the clarity of one's own spirit. When you finally turn the key, the engine rumbles to life, a mechanical growl that vibrates through the seat. In the past, this sound was a signal of stress, of the beginning of a commute, of the rush to be somewhere else. Now, it is simply a vibration, a different kind of song. You pull away from the gravel shoulder, your movements deliberate and smooth. As you drive down the winding mountain road, the headlights cutting a twin path through the gloom, you watch the ferns and the rocks pass by. You recognize them now. You see the texture of the bark and the way the mist clings to the hollows. You are moving through the world, but you are not being swept away by it. The road curves, and for a split second, you catch a glimpse of a tall, silver-haired figure standing on a rocky outcropping overlooking the valley. It might be a trick of the light, a silver birch reflecting the moon, or a trick of the mind. But you nod anyway. You carry the weight of the Pennsylvania wilds in your bones and the fragrance of the enchanted garden in your breath. The journey through the dark is over, but the stillness remains. You navigate the turns with a predator's focus, the amber light in your chest guiding you home through the deep, quiet night of the plateau. Every mile is a meditation, every breath a sanctuary, and as the lights of the town begin to appear on the horizon, you realize you are not the same person who stood at the edge of the woods at dusk. You are something more. You are centered. You are whole. You are at peace. The transition from the velvet darkness of the glade to the hard, unyielding reality of the roadside is a slow, methodical process of reassembly. Your physical form, which had felt porous and light under the influence of the Witcher's presence and the garden's bioluminescence, begins to regain its density. You feel the weight of your coat against your shoulders, the constriction of your laces, and the slight, familiar ache in your lower back that comes from a long day of movement. Yet, as you sit in the driver's seat of your vehicle, the engine idling with a low, rhythmic thrum, the internal landscape you discovered behind the sandstone gateway remains vividly intact. The steering wheel beneath your palms feels like an extension of the tree bark you touched earlier. It is material, it is grounded, and it is part of a larger, interconnected web of existence that you now perceive with a clarity that borders on the supernatural. Geralt's parting words hang in the cabin of the car, vibrating in the quiet air like the after-ring of a struck bell. He told you that the mountain is within you. You test this. You sit perfectly still, ignoring the urge to reach for your phone or check the clock on the dashboard. You close your eyes, letting the vibration of the idling motor become a tool for focus rather than a distraction. You imagine the car as a small, metallic bubble resting on the surface of a vast, ancient sea of stone and root. Below the tires, the layers of Pennsylvania shale and coal stretch down into the heat of the earth. Above you, the atmosphere reaches out toward the cold indifference of the stars. You are the point of equilibrium between the two. You begin the breathing cycle again, just as the Witcher instructed. Inhale through the nose, counting to 4. You feel the cool, filtered air of the car interior enter your nostrils, but in your mind, it still carries the faint, ghostly scent of crushed mint and blooming jasmine from the hidden valley. Hold the breath for 4 counts. In this suspension, you feel the stillness of the amethyst cavern. You see the dark, glassy surface of the pool where you looked for your true self. You realize that the person you saw there, the one stripped of pretension, the one carved from quiet resolve, did not stay behind in the cave. That person is the one currently holding the steering wheel. That person is the one who will navigate the winding turns of Route 153 and the descent into the valley towns. Release the breath through your mouth for a count of 6. As the air leaves your body, imagine the remaining residue of the day's trivialities, the unanswered emails, the half-formed worries about tomorrow, the phantom echoes of distant conversations, exiting with it. They are like the dark ink you visualized dissolving in the diamond stream. They have no power here. They are mere shadows, and as Geralt said, shadows cannot survive the light of a focused mind. You repeat the cycle. Inhale. Hold. Release. With each repetition, your heart rate slows further, syncing with the mechanical pulse of the engine and the deeper, slower pulse of the ridges surrounding you. The world outside the windshield is a study in monochromatic layers. The black of the forest, the charcoal of the road, and the bruised violet of the sky where the last vestiges of the sun have long since surrendered to the night. You shift the car into gear, but your movements are not hurried. There is no frantic clutching, no sudden acceleration. You move the vehicle forward with a deliberate grace, the tires crunching over the gravel with a sound that reminds you of the Witcher's own footsteps. As you pull onto the asphalt, the headlights sweep across the tree-line, momentarily illuminating the silver-gray trunks of the beeches. They look like sentinels, standing guard over the secrets of the Rockton forest. You drive slowly, keeping your speed well below the limit. There is no need for haste. The destination is merely another point on the map, the journey is the current reality. You watch the way the white lines on the road unfold beneath your lights, a continuous, hypnotic ribbon that connects the wild places to the settled ones. Your mind remains anchored in the solar plexus, where the amber glow continues to radiate a gentle, persistent warmth. You find yourself noticing things you would have ignored an hour ago. You see the way the mist pools in the low spots of the road, swirling in the wake of your passage like the skirts of a ghost. You see the glint of a pair of eyes at the edge of the woods, a deer, perhaps, or a coyote, and instead of a jolt of alarm, you feel a sense of kinship. You acknowledge the creature in the silence of your mind, a fellow traveler in the dark. The road begins to wind downward, the elevation dropping as you move away from the high plateau. You can feel the change in the air pressure, a slight thickening of the atmosphere as you descend toward the river valley. In the past, this descent often felt like a return to a heavy, suffocating reality. Tonight, it feels different. You are bringing the mountain down with you. You are bringing the silence of the garden into the noise of the world. You think of the Witcher, likely still out there somewhere in the shadows, his yellow eyes tracking the movement of things that most people refuse to believe in. He does not seek the garden to escape the world, he seeks it to endure the world. This is the lesson he left you with. Meditation is not a withdrawal, it is a fortification. As you reach the outskirts of the first small town, the orange glow of sodium vapor streetlights begins to compete with the starlight. The houses are dark, their inhabitants tucked away in the soft, unconscious rhythms of sleep. You drive past a closed gas station, its neon sign humming with a low-frequency buzz that you can feel in your teeth. Normally, this sound would grate on your nerves, a reminder of the industrial friction of modern life. Now, you simply observe it. It is a sound, nothing more. It has a frequency, a rhythm, and a place in the physical realm. You let it pass through your awareness without letting it snag on your emotions. You are a vessel for the earth's energy, and a vessel does not get angry at the water it carries. You turn onto the street that leads to your home, the familiar landmarks appearing one by one in the glow of your headlights. The oak tree at the corner, the cracked sidewalk, the neighbor's rusted fence. They look smaller than they did before, or perhaps you simply feel larger. You pull into your driveway and turn off the engine. The sudden silence that follows is profound. It is the same silence you felt in the Amethyst Cavern, a heavy, expectant quiet that demands nothing and offers everything. You stay in the car for a few minutes, unwilling to break the spell of the drive. You place your hands back on the steering wheel and take one final, deep breath. This one is for the transition. You inhale the familiar scent of your own life, the upholstery, the faint trace of rain on your jacket, and you mingle it with the memory of the hemlock and the moss. You hold it, feeling the two worlds merge within your chest. You are the bridge. You are the gateway. When you exhale, you do so with a soft, audible sigh, letting the last of the tension melt into the seat. You step out of the car and stand in the cool night air of your own neighborhood. The distant sound of a train whistle echoes through the valley, a long, mournful note that speaks of distance and time. You look up at the sky. The stars are still there, even if the town lights make them harder to see. You know they are there. You know the garden is there. You know the Witcher is there. And most importantly, you know that the stillness is there, resting just beneath the surface of your breath, waiting for you to return to it whenever the world forgets how to be quiet. You walk toward your front door, your footsteps steady and light, carrying the peace of the Pennsylvania wilds into the sanctuary of your home. The walk is over, but the path continues. The heavy oak door of your home feels solid and familiar under your hand, yet as you turn the brass knob, you do not feel the usual rush of domestic obligation. There is no phantom list of chores clouding your mind, no sudden spike of adrenaline as you consider the emails waiting in the digital ether. Instead, you step into the darkened hallway with the same measured grace that Geralt demonstrated when navigating the sandstone fissure. The air inside is still, flavored by the scent of old wood and the faint, lingering aroma of the tea you brewed hours ago. It is a domestic silence, far removed from the predatory quiet of the high ridges, but you find that the two are not as different as you once believed. Both are vessels for your awareness. You do not reach for the light switch immediately. You allow your eyes to adjust to the gloom, watching how the moonlight filters through the sheer curtains in the living room, casting long, pale rectangles across the floorboards. The shadows here are soft, lacking the jagged intensity of the forest, but they hold a similar mystery. You walk through the house without the need for illumination, your feet finding the path by memory and by the heightened tactile sense that remains from your time in the garden. You feel the grain of the wood through your socks, the slight dip in the floor where the house has settled over the decades, and the cool draft of air moving through the hallway. Every sensation is a data point, a confirmation of your presence in the physical realm. In the kitchen, you move with a slow burn efficiency. You reach for a glass, the crystal clinking softly against the shelf. The sound is sharp and clear, echoing in the quiet room. You fill it with water from the tap, watching the way the liquid swirls and bubbles under the artificial pressure. You remember the diamond stream in the glade, the way the water felt like a living silk against your skin. This water is the same element, merely captured and channeled. As you take a sip, you focus on the sensation of the cold liquid moving down your throat, cooling your chest, and settling in your stomach. It is a grounding ritual, a way of internalizing the environment you have just returned from. You find yourself drawn to the window that looks out over the backyard. Beyond the fence, a small patch of woods borders the property, a miniature echo of the vast wilderness you traversed with the Witcher. The trees there are ordinary maples and oaks, their leaves rustling in the night breeze. You lean your forehead against the cool glass and close your eyes. Internal monologue begins to weave through the stillness. You think about the silver sword and the steel sword, and how Geralt spoke of the need for a place to lay them aside. Your swords are different, they are the tools of your trade, the shields of your ego, the constant vigilance you maintain against the demands of a frantic world. But here, in the shadow of the Rockton memory, you realize you can lay them down as well. You don't need to be the person who answers every call, who solves every problem, who carries the weight of the future on their shoulders. For tonight, you are simply a witness to the breath. The Witcher's voice remains a steady vibration in your memory, a low-frequency hum that anchors your thoughts. He spoke of the monsters being shadows of doubt. You examine those shadows now. They are the small, nagging thoughts about inadequacy, the fleeting fears of being left behind by time, the quiet anxieties about the people you love. In the past, these thoughts were like brambles, catching at your clothes and drawing blood. But now, you look at them with the detached curiosity of a scholar. You see them for what they are, mental constructs, flickers of energy that have no more substance than the reflections in the amethyst pool. You let them drift past, neither fighting them nor clinging to them. You are the mountain, the clouds of thought may obscure your peak for a moment, but they cannot move the stone. You move to your favorite chair and sit down, not to sleep, but to simply be. You do not turn on the television or open a book. You sit in the dark, your hands resting palms up on your knees. You return to the rhythm. 4 counts in. 4 counts hold. 6 counts out. The amber glow in your solar plexus has expanded now, filling your entire torso with a sense of preservation and warmth. You can feel the blood moving through your limbs, a subtle, electric tingling that matches the static charge you felt above the stream. You are alive. You are vibrant. You are part of the same engine that moves the sap through the hemlocks and the fire through the stars. The clock on the wall ticks, a rhythmic punctuation to the silence. Each tick is a reminder of the linear world, of the seconds and minutes that govern the lives of men. But you find yourself slipping into a different kind of time, the deep time of the ridges. In this state, a minute is an eternity and an hour is a heartbeat. You think of the millions of years it took for the sandstone to form, the centuries it took for the oaks to reach their height, and the brief, flickering moment of your own existence. Instead of feeling small, you feel integrated. You are a necessary part of the continuum. Your breath is the same breath that the first humans drew on this plateau, and it is the same breath that will sustain those who come after the woods have reclaimed the towns. A sense of profound gratitude washes over you, as thick and sweet as the scent of the garden's lilies. You are grateful for the cold air, for the jagged path, for the silver-haired guide who showed you the way back to yourself. You realize that the Pennsylvania wilds are not just a location on a map, but a cathedral of the spirit. Every rock is an altar, every stream a baptism. You carry the sanctity of that place within you now. It is a portable sanctuary, a hidden glade that you can access even in the middle of a crowded street or a stressful meeting. All you have to do is find the interface where the air meets the liquid, where the thought meets the silence. You feel a yawn stretching through your jaw, a natural signal from your body that the integration is complete. The physical fatigue of the climb and the emotional release of the meditation are finally merging into a peaceful readiness for rest. You stand up, your limbs feeling heavy but fluid. You walk toward your bedroom, the floorboards creaking a gentle lullaby. As you lie down, you do not immediately seek sleep. You lie on your back, staring up at the ceiling where the shadows of the outdoor trees dance in the moonlight. You imagine the garden one last time. You see the translucent petals folding for the night. You hear the microscopic scuttle of the glass-winged insects. You see Geralt standing by the stream, his yellow eyes reflecting the bioluminescence as he watches the water carry away the dark ink of the world's worries. You realize he is still there, in that space between the breaths, guarding the threshold. He is a part of your internal landscape now, a symbol of the resilience and clarity you have claimed for yourself. As you finally close your eyes, the boundaries of your body seem to soften and dissolve. You are no longer a person in a bed in a town. You are the wind in the hemlocks, the water in the coal seams, the amber glow of a dying ember. The darkness is not a void, it is a tapestry, and you are the thread that holds it together. You drift into a deep, dreamless sleep, your heart beating with the steady, measured pulse of the mountain, unshakable and at peace. The path is clear, you whisper into the silence of the room, and the words are a promise kept, the transition from the velvet darkness of the glade to the hard, unyielding reality of the roadside is a slow, methodical process of reassembly. Your physical form, which had felt porous and light under the influence of the Witcher's presence and the garden's bioluminescence, begins to regain its density. You feel the weight of your coat against your shoulders, the constriction of your laces, and the slight, familiar ache in your lower back that comes from a long day of movement. Yet, as you sit in the driver's seat of your vehicle, the engine idling with a low, rhythmic thrum, the internal landscape you discovered behind the sandstone gateway remains vividly intact. The steering wheel beneath your palms feels like an extension of the tree bark you touched earlier. It is material, it is grounded, and it is part of a larger, interconnected web of existence that you now perceive with a clarity that borders on the supernatural. Geralt's parting words hang in the cabin of the car, vibrating in the quiet air like the after ring of a struck bell. He told you that the mountain is within you. You test this. You sit perfectly still, ignoring the urge to reach for your phone or check the clock on the dashboard. You close your eyes, letting the vibration of the idling motor become a tool for focus rather than a distraction. You imagine the car as a small, metallic bubble resting on the surface of a vast, ancient sea of stone and root. Below the tires, the layers of Pennsylvania shale and coal stretch down into the heat of the earth. Above you, the atmosphere reaches out toward the cold indifference of the stars. You are the point of equilibrium between the two. You begin the breathing cycle again, just as the Witcher instructed. Inhale through the nose, counting to 4. You feel the cool, filtered air of the car interior enter your nostrils, but in your mind, it still carries the faint, ghostly scent of crushed mint and blooming jasmine from the hidden valley. Hold the breath for 4 counts. In this suspension, you feel the stillness of the amethyst cavern. You see the dark, glassy surface of the pool where you looked for your true self. You realize that the person you saw there, the one stripped of pretension, the one carved from quiet resolve, did not stay behind in the cave. That person is the one currently holding the steering wheel. That person is the one who will navigate the winding turns of Route 153 and the descent into the valley towns. Release the breath through your mouth for a count of 6. As the air leaves your body, imagine the remaining residue of the day's trivialities, the unanswered emails, the half-formed worries about tomorrow, the phantom echoes of distant conversations, exiting with it. They are like the dark ink you visualized dissolving in the diamond stream. They have no power here. They are mere shadows, and as Geralt said, shadows cannot survive the light of a focused mind. You repeat the cycle. Inhale. Hold. Release. With each repetition, your heart rate slows further, syncing with the mechanical pulse of the engine and the deeper, slower pulse of the ridges surrounding you. The world outside the windshield is a study in monochromatic layers. The black of the forest, the charcoal of the road, and the bruised violet of the sky where the last vestiges of the sun have long since surrendered to the night. You shift the car into gear, but your movements are not hurried. There is no frantic clutching, no sudden acceleration. You move the vehicle forward with a deliberate grace, the tires crunching over the gravel with a sound that reminds you of the Witcher's own footsteps. As you pull onto the asphalt, the headlights sweep across the tree-lean, momentarily illuminating the silver-gray trunks of the beeches. They look like sentinels, standing guard over the secrets of the Rockton forest. You drive slowly, keeping your speed well below the limit. There is no need for haste. The destination is merely another point on the map, the journey is the current reality. You watch the way the white lines on the road unfold beneath your lights, a continuous, hypnotic ribbon that connects the wild places to the settled ones. Your mind remains anchored in the solar plexus, where the amber glow continues to radiate a gentle, persistent warmth. You find yourself noticing things you would have ignored an hour ago. You see the way the mist pools in the low spots of the road, swirling in the wake of your passage like the skirts of a ghost. You see the glint of a pair of eyes at the edge of the woods, a deer, perhaps, or a coyote, and instead of a jolt of alarm, you feel a sense of kinship. You acknowledge the creature in the silence of your mind, a fellow traveler in the dark. The road begins to wind downward, the elevation dropping as you move away from the high plateau. You can feel the change in the air pressure, a slight thickening of the atmosphere as you descend toward the river valley. In the past, this descent often felt like a return to a heavy, suffocating reality. Tonight, it feels different. You are bringing the mountain down with you. You are bringing the silence of the garden into the noise of the world. You think of the Witcher, likely still out there somewhere in the shadows, his yellow eyes tracking the movement of things that most people refuse to believe in. He does not seek the garden to escape the world, he seeks it to endure the world. This is the lesson he left you with. Meditation is not a withdrawal, it is a fortification. As you reach the outskirts of the first small town, the orange glow of sodium vapor streetlights begins to compete with the starlight. The houses are dark, their inhabitants tucked away in the soft, unconscious rhythms of sleep. You drive past a closed gas station, its neon sign humming with a low-frequency buzz that you can feel in your teeth. Normally, this sound would grate on your nerves, a reminder of the industrial friction of modern life. Now, you simply observe it. It is a sound, nothing more. It has a frequency, a rhythm, and a place in the physical realm. You let it pass through your awareness without letting it snag on your emotions. You are a vessel for the earth's energy, and a vessel does not get angry at the water it carries. You turn onto the street that leads to your home, the familiar landmarks appearing one by one in the glow of your headlights. The oak tree at the corner, the cracked sidewalk, the neighbor's rusted fence. They look smaller than they did before, or perhaps you simply feel larger. You pull into your driveway and turn off the engine. The sudden silence that follows is profound. It is the same silence you felt in the Amethyst Cavern, a heavy, expectant quiet that demands nothing and offers everything. You stay in the car for a few minutes, unwilling to break the spell of the drive. You place your hands back on the steering wheel and take one final, deep breath. This one is for the transition. You inhale the familiar scent of your own life, the upholstery, the faint trace of rain on your jacket, and you mingle it with the memory of the hemlock and the moss. You hold it, feeling the two worlds merge within your chest. You are the bridge. You are the gateway. When you exhale, you do so with a soft, audible sigh, letting the last of the tension melt into the seat. You step out of the car and stand in the cool night air of your own neighborhood. The distant sound of a train whistle echoes through the valley, a long, mournful note that speaks of distance and time. You look up at the sky. The stars are still there, even if the town lights make them harder to see. You know they are there. You know the garden is there. You know the Witcher is there. And most importantly, you know that the stillness is there, resting just beneath the surface of your breath, waiting for you to return to it whenever the world forgets how to be quiet. You walk toward your front door, your footsteps steady and light, carrying the peace of the Pennsylvania wilds into the sanctuary of your home. The walk is over, but the path continues. The heavy oak door of your home feels solid and familiar under your hand, yet as you turn the brass knob, you do not feel the usual rush of domestic obligation. There is no phantom list of chores clouding your mind, no sudden spike of adrenaline as you consider the emails waiting in the digital ether. Instead, you step into the darkened hallway with the same measured grace that Geralt demonstrated when navigating the sandstone fissure. The air inside is still, flavored by the scent of old wood and the faint, lingering aroma of the tea you brewed hours ago. It is a domestic silence, far removed from the predatory quiet of the high ridges, but you find that the two are not as different as you once believed. Both are vessels for your awareness. You do not reach for the light switch immediately. You allow your eyes to adjust to the gloom, watching how the moonlight filters through the sheer curtains in the living room, casting long, pale rectangles across the floorboards. The shadows here are soft, lacking the jagged intensity of the forest, but they hold a similar mystery. You walk through the house without the need for illumination, your feet finding the path by memory and by the heightened tactile sense that remains from your time in the garden. You feel the grain of the wood through your socks, the slight dip in the floor where the house has settled over the decades, and the cool draft of air moving through the hallway. Every sensation is a data point, a confirmation of your presence in the physical realm. In the kitchen, you move with a slow burn efficiency. You reach for a glass, the crystal clinking softly against the shelf. The sound is sharp and clear, echoing in the quiet room. You fill it with water from the tap, watching the way the liquid swirls and bubbles under the artificial pressure. You remember the diamond stream in the glade, the way the water felt like a living silk against your skin. This water is the same element, merely captured and channeled. As you take a sip, you focus on the sensation of the cold liquid moving down your throat, cooling your chest, and settling in your stomach. It is a grounding ritual, a way of internalizing the environment you have just returned from. You find yourself drawn to the window that looks out over the backyard. Beyond the fence, a small patch of woods borders the property, a miniature echo of the vast wilderness you traversed with the Witcher. The trees there are ordinary maples and oaks, their leaves rustling in the night breeze. You lean your forehead against the cool glass and close your eyes. Internal monologue begins to weave through the stillness. You think about the silver sword and the steel sword, and how Geralt spoke of the need for a place to lay them aside. Your swords are different, they are the tools of your trade, the shields of your ego, the constant vigilance you maintain against the demands of a frantic world. But here, in the shadow of the Rockton memory, you realize you can lay them down as well. You don't need to be the person who answers every call, who solves every problem, who carries the weight of the future on their shoulders. For tonight, you are simply a witness to the breath. The Witcher's voice remains a steady vibration in your memory, a low-frequency hum that anchors your thoughts. He spoke of the monsters being shadows of doubt. You examine those shadows now. They are the small, nagging thoughts about inadequacy, the fleeting fears of being left behind by time, the quiet anxieties about the people you love. In the past, these thoughts were like brambles, catching at your clothes and drawing blood. But now, you look at them with the detached curiosity of a scholar. You see them for what they are, mental constructs, flickers of energy that have no more substance than the reflections in the amethyst pool. You let them drift past, neither fighting them nor clinging to them. You are the mountain, the clouds of thought may obscure your peak for a moment, but they cannot move the stone. You move to your favorite chair and sit down, not to sleep, but to simply be. You do not turn on the television or open a book. You sit in the dark, your hands resting palms up on your knees. You return to the rhythm. 4 counts in. 4 counts hold. 6 counts out. The amber glow in your solar plexus has expanded now, filling your entire torso with a sense of preservation and warmth. You can feel the blood moving through your limbs, a subtle, electric tingling that matches the static charge you felt above the stream. You are alive. You are vibrant. You are part of the same engine that moves the sap through the hemlocks and the fire through the stars. The clock on the wall ticks, a rhythmic punctuation to the silence. Each tick is a reminder of the linear world, of the seconds and minutes that govern the lives of men. But you find yourself slipping into a different kind of time, the deep time of the ridges. In this state, a minute is an eternity and an hour is a heartbeat. You think of the millions of years it took for the sandstone to form, the centuries it took for the oaks to reach their height, and the brief, flickering moment of your own existence. Instead of feeling small, you feel integrated. You are a necessary part of the continuum. Your breath is the same breath that the first humans drew on this plateau, and it is the same breath that will sustain those who come after the woods have reclaimed the towns. A sense of profound gratitude washes over you, as thick and sweet as the scent of the garden's lilies. You are grateful for the cold air, for the jagged path, for the silver-haired guide who showed you the way back to yourself. You realize that the Pennsylvania wilds are not just a location on a map, but a cathedral of the spirit. Every rock is an altar, every stream a baptism. You carry the sanctity of that place within you now. It is a portable sanctuary, a hidden glade that you can access even in the middle of a crowded street or a stressful meeting. All you have to do is find the interface where the air meets the liquid, where the thought meets the silence. You feel a yawn stretching through your jaw, a natural signal from your body that the integration is complete. The physical fatigue of the climb and the emotional release of the meditation are finally merging into a peaceful readiness for rest. You stand up, your limbs feeling heavy but fluid. You walk toward your bedroom, the floorboards creaking a gentle lullaby. As you lie down, you do not immediately seek sleep. You lie on your back, staring up at the ceiling where the shadows of the outdoor trees dance in the moonlight. You imagine the garden one last time. You see the translucent petals folding for the night. You hear the microscopic scuttle of the glass-winged insects. You see Gerald standing by the stream, his yellow eyes reflecting the bioluminescence as he watches the water carry away the dark ink of the world's worries. You realize he is still there, in that space between the breaths, guarding the threshold. He is a part of your internal landscape now, a symbol of the resilience and clarity you have claimed for yourself. As you finally close your eyes, the boundaries of your body seem to soften and dissolve. You are no longer a person in a bed in a town. You are the wind in the hemlocks, the water in the coal seams, the amber glow of a dying ember. The darkness is not a void, it is a tapestry, and you are the thread that holds it together. You drift into a deep, dreamless sleep, your heart beating with the steady, measured pulse of the mountain, unshakable and at peace. The path is clear, you whisper into the silence of the room, and the words are a promise kept. The morning arrives not with the jarring intrusion of an alarm, but with a slow, systematic reintroduction of light. It begins as a faint, pearlescent gray filtering through the blinds, casting thin, horizontal slats across the duvet. You wake with a singular lack of the usual morning fog. Your mind is like a pool of water that has been allowed to settle overnight. The silt of yesterday has fallen to the bottom, leaving the surface clear and undisturbed. You lie still for several minutes, feeling the weight of your body against the mattress. You are acutely aware of the point of contact between your skin and the fabric, the way the warmth of your own breath creates a small, humid climate around your face. You do not reach for the day. You let the day reach for you. You remember the garden. It is not a distant, hazy memory like a dream that dissolves upon waking. It is a sharp, textured reality. You can still feel the microscopic grit of the sandstone beneath your fingertips and the hum of the silver-haired witcher's voice in your marrow. You realize that the integration you felt as you fell asleep has held. You are not returning to your life as the same person who left for the woods. You are a version of yourself that has been tempered by the silence of the high ridges. When you finally rise, your movements are unhurried. You do not rush toward the coffee maker with the desperate hunger of the addicted. Instead, you walk to the window and pull back the curtains. The world outside is bathed in the soft, golden light of a Pennsylvania dawn. The dew on the grass in your backyard glitters like the scattered diamonds of the garden stream. You see a robin tugging at a worm in the soil, its movements jerky and precise. You watch it for a full minute, captivated by the simple, brutal elegance of its survival. You are observing the world through the same lens Gerald used to observe the forest, seeing the predator, the prey, and the environment as a single, breathing entity. As you move through your morning routine, you find that the mundane tasks have taken on a meditative quality. Washing your face becomes an act of purification. The feel of the cold water hitting your skin is a sharp, electric reminder of your physical presence. You do not think about the meetings you have scheduled or the errands you need to run. You think about the water. You think about its journey from the deep aquifers, through the iron pipes, to your hands. You feel a sense of profound connection to the infrastructure of the world, just as you felt a connection to the root systems of the hemlocks. You brew a cup of tea, the same variety you imagined drinking in the garden. You watch the steam rise in elegant, chaotic swirls, disappearing into the kitchen air. You sit at your wooden table, the grain of the oak mirroring the patterns you saw in the ancient trees of Rockton. You take a sip, letting the heat radiate from your throat to your chest. You are practicing the presence. You are staying in the interface. A notification pings on your phone, a sharp, digital intrusion that would usually trigger a Pavlovian response of stress. You look at the device sitting on the counter. It is a small rectangle of glass and metal, a conduit for the noise of the collective. You do not feel the urge to pick it up. You see it for what it is, a tool, not a master. You recognize that the urgency at project is an illusion, a manufactured ghost designed to haunt your peace. You decide to leave it there for a while longer. The mountain does not answer every gust of wind, and you are the mountain. You decide to go for a walk before the world fully wakes up. You step out onto your porch and breathe in the morning air. It is crisp and carries the scent of damp earth and wood smoke. You begin to walk down your street, but your pace is different than it used to be. You are not walking to get somewhere, you are walking to be somewhere. Each step is a conscious choice. You feel the roll of your foot from heel to toe, the engagement of your calf muscles, the slight sway of your arms. You are a masterpiece of biological engineering, moving through a landscape of light and shadow. You pass a neighbor's house where a dog is barking at a squirrel. In the past, the noise might have irritated you, a jagged tear in the fabric of your morning quiet. Now, you hear it as part of the symphony. The bark, the rustle of the leaves, the distant hum of a delivery truck, it is all the breath of the world. You realize that peace is not the absence of sound, but the presence of a center that cannot be shaken by it. You reach a small park at the end of the block, a modest patch of green with a few benches and a cluster of pine trees. You walk toward the trees and stand beneath them. You look up at the canopy, watching the way the sunlight filters through the needles. It is not the high, ancient forest of the wilds, but it is a cousin to it. The same spirit dwells here. You place your hand on the trunk of a pine, feeling the rough, scaly bark. You close your eyes and return to the rhythm. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The amber glow in your center flares to life. It is easier to find now, a familiar path in the woods of your own consciousness. You feel the energy moving down your arms and legs, anchoring you to the earth. You imagine your roots going down, past the manicured grass, past the suburban pipes, deep into the ancient stone of the plateau. You are a bridge between the sky and the soil. Internal monologue begins to ripple through your mind like a breeze through tall grass. I am here, you think. I am the witness. I am the silence that holds the noise. You realize that the Witcher's gift wasn't just the journey to the garden, it was the realization that the garden has no walls. You can never truly leave it because you are the gardener. Every thought you choose to nurture, every breath you take with intention, is a seed planted in the soil of your soul. You think of Geralt's silver hair and the way it caught the light of the glowworms. You think of the scars on his arms, the physical record of a life spent in the service of others. You understand now that strength is not the absence of wounds, but the ability to carry them with grace. Your own scars, the emotional ones, the ones left by loss and stress and time, are not defects. They are the texture of your being. They are the cracks through which the light of the garden shines. You stay under the pine trees for a long time, lost in the deep time of the ridges. When you finally turn to walk home, you feel a sense of lightness that is almost intoxicating. The world has not changed, but you have. The colors of the houses seem more vibrant, the air seems more alive, and the people you pass, the early morning joggers, the commuters scraping frost from their windshields, seem like brothers and sisters in a grand, mysterious drama. You want to tell them to stop, to breathe, to look at the light in the dew. But you know that everyone must find their own path to the sandstone fissure. You can only offer the peace you carry as a silent testimony. Back in your house, you finally pick up your phone. You scan the messages and emails. There is a problem at work, a question from a friend, a reminder of a bill. You address them one by one, your fingers moving over the screen with a calm, steady rhythm. You do not let the content of the messages dictate your internal state. You are the master of the interface. You provide the answers from a place of clarity rather than a place of panic. You find that you are more efficient, more precise, because you are not wasting energy on the friction of anxiety. The day unfolds with its usual complexities, but you navigate them like Geralt navigated the swamp. You see the hazards, you see the paths, and you move with intention. When a coworker speaks to you with a tone of frustration, you do not absorb their anger. You see it as a storm passing over the mountain. You offer a calm word, a steady presence, and you watch the storm lose its power. You are the anchor in the room. Lunchtime arrives, and instead of eating at your desk while scrolling through news feeds, you go outside. You find a patch of sun and sit quietly. You focus on the taste of your food, the texture of the bread, the sweetness of an apple. Each bite is an act of communion. You are feeding the vessel that houses the spirit. You look at your hands, the lines in your palms, and you think of the Witcher's hands on his swords. Your hands are also tools of protection and creation. You resolve to use them well today. As the afternoon light begins to lengthen, you feel a slight pull of fatigue. It is not the heavy, soul-crushing exhaustion of a day spent in combat with the world. It is the natural tiredness of a body that has been used with purpose. You take a moment to reset. You sit at your desk, close your eyes for 3 minutes, and return to the breath. You go back to the amethyst pool. You see the water, still and dark, and you let the tension of the afternoon dissolve into it. When you open your eyes, you are refreshed. The reservoir is deep. Evening begins to settle over the town. The sky turns the color of a bruised plum, the same shade you saw above the high ridges of Rockton. You prepare your dinner with the same focus you applied to your morning tea. You are not just making a meal, you are participating in the cycle of life. You think of the creatures in the forest, the way they hunt and forage with such singular focus. You bring that focus to the simple act of chopping vegetables. The knife through the carrot, the sizzle of the pan, the smell of garlic, it is a sensory feast that anchors you in the present moment. After dinner, you sit on your porch in the twilight. The street lights flick on, one by one, creating small islands of artificial light in the encroaching dark. You think about the two worlds you inhabit. There is the world of the town, with its clocks and its rules and its constant noise. And there is the world of the garden, with its timelessness and its silence and its amber glow. You realize that you no longer have to choose between them. You are the bridge. You are the one who brings the silence into the noise and the light into the dark. You think of Gerald one last time. You imagine him out there in the vastness of the Pennsylvania wilds, a lone figure moving through the hemlocks. You know that he is not lonely, for he is part of everything. You know that he is not afraid, for he has looked into the pool and seen the truth. You feel a sense of profound companionship with him. You are both guardians of the path. You are both students of the breath. A cool breeze blows across the porch, carrying the scent of the nearby woods. You close your eyes and let it wash over you. You feel the mountain inside you, solid and unyielding. You feel the stream inside you, fluid and clear. You feel the garden inside you, blooming in the dark. I am here, you whisper, and the words are not just a statement of location, but a declaration of being. You are present. You are aware. You are at peace. The night deepens, the stars appearing one by one in the gaps between the clouds. You watch them for a while, marveling at their distance and their persistence. They are the same stars that looked down on the first mountain, and they are the same stars that will look down on the last. You are part of that long, celestial gaze. You are a flicker of light in the tapestry of the universe, and that is enough. You stand up and walk back into your house. You do not turn on the bright overhead lights. You keep the atmosphere soft, respectful of the transition towards sleep. You move through the rooms, the shadows welcoming you like old friends. You prepare for bed with a sense of quiet ceremony. Each action, the folding of your clothes, the brushing of your teeth, the pulling back of the sheets, is done with the same grace you brought to the sandstone fissure. As you lie down, you feel the familiar rhythm of your heart. It is a steady, reassuring beat, the pulse of the earth itself. You do not try to think of anything. You do not try to solve any problems. You simply exist. You are the breath. You are the stillness. You are the bridge. The memory of the garden begins to merge with the onset of sleep. You see the translucent petals. You hear the chime of the water. You feel the presence of the silver-haired guide standing at the edge of your consciousness. He nods, a silent acknowledgement of your progress. You have learned the lesson. You have claimed the territory of your own mind. You drift toward the horizon of consciousness, the boundaries between the world of the town and the world of the ridges dissolving into a single, beautiful unity. There is no more distance. There is no more time. There is only the amber glow, the steady breath, and the infinite, healing silence of the mountain. You are finally, truly, home. In the deep, quiet hours of the night, your mind remains a sanctuary. Even as you sleep, the lessons of the garden continue to work within you, rearranging the patterns of your subconscious. The fears that once felt like towering giants are reduced to the size of pebbles, easily stepped over. The desires that once felt like frantic hungers are transformed into a steady, quiet appreciation for what is. You are being rebuilt from the inside out, the structure of your being reinforced by the ancient strength of the sandstone. You dream of the forest, but it is not a dream of pursuit or danger. It is a dream of belonging. You are the hawk circling the ridge. You are the fox moving through the underbrush. You are the water flowing over the coal. You are every part of the landscape, and the landscape is every part of you. There is no separation. There is only the flow. As the first light of the next day begins to touch the edges of the world, you find yourself hovering in that sacred space between sleep and waking. You are aware of the room, the bed, the morning bird. But you are also aware of the glade, the stream, the witcher. You carry both realities with you into the new day. You are the vessel of the wilds, the emissary of the stillness. You open your eyes and see the light on the ceiling. It is a new day, with new challenges and new joys. But you are ready. You have the silver sword of clarity and the steel sword of resilience. You have the amber glow in your chest. You have the breath. The path continues, winding through the world of men and the world of shadows. But you no longer fear the journey. You know where it leads. You know that every step is a return to the garden. You know that every breath is a conversation with the mountain. You are the path, and the path is you. The stillness remains. It is there in the pause between your thoughts. It is there in the space between your heartbeats. It is there in the silence between the words. You carry it with you like a secret treasure, a source of infinite power that no one can take away. You are the master of your own peace. You rise from your bed and step into the light. The day is waiting, and you are ready to meet it with the eyes of a witcher and the heart of the mountain. The integration is complete. You are one. The world begins its cacophony, the sounds of engines and voices and electronics rising like a tide. You hear it, you acknowledge it, but you do not let it drown out the quiet chime of the water in your soul. You are the bridge, and the bridge is strong. You move into the day with a steady hand and a clear eye, a living testament to the power of the high ridges. Every person you encounter, every task you perform, every moment you inhabit is now an opportunity to practice the presence. You are the gardener, and the world is your garden. You tend it with care, with patience, and with the unwavering stillness of the Pennsylvania wilds. The walk is over, but the path continues. It stretches out before you, infinite and beautiful, a ribbon of light in the darkness. You take the first step, and then the next, and then the next. You are moving toward the horizon, fueled by the amber glow and guided by the memory of the silver-haired witcher. You are at peace, and the peace is you. The sun rises higher, the world grows brighter, and you walk on. You are the witness. You are the silence. You are the bridge. I am here, you whisper again, and the world responds with the soft, steady rustle of leaves in the morning breeze. The promise is kept. The path is clear. The morning air in your bedroom carries a different quality now, a subtle shift in the molecular weight of the silence. It is no longer a heavy, stagnant quiet that demands to be filled with the frantic noise of a television or the blue light of a smartphone. Instead, it is a generative stillness, much like the atmosphere of the sandstone fissure. You lie in the center of your bed, your limbs relaxed but possessed of a hidden potentiality, a coiled readiness that Geralt of Rivia would recognize as the baseline state of a predator or a protector. Your internal monologue has slowed its frantic pace, the words appearing in your mind like smooth stones dropped into a deep, clear well. Each thought is distinct, weighted, and allowed to sink to the bottom without muddying the water. You find yourself contemplating the texture of the sheets against your heels, the way the cotton fibers provide a microscopic resistance that confirms your physical boundaries. You are not a ghost in a machine, you are the machine, and the ghost is the pilot, calm and observant. You swing your legs over the side of the bed, feeling the cool shock of the floorboards. In the past, this sensation might have triggered a momentary flare of irritation, a rejection of the day's demands. Now, you welcome it as a sensory anchor. You stand up, and for a moment, you close your eyes to re-establish the vertical axis of your spine. You imagine a silver thread extending from the crown of your head up toward the fading stars, and a heavy, iron anchor dropping from your tailbone deep into the Pennsylvania shale. You are a conduit. You are the interface. You take a breath, feeling the expansion of your ribs, the way the intercostal muscles stretch and release. 4 counts in. 4 counts hold. 6 counts out. The amber glow in your solar plexus, that internal hearth you stoked in the high ridges of Rockton, flares into a steady, reliable warmth. It is your pilot light. As you walk toward the bathroom, you catch your reflection in the hallway mirror. The shadows are still long, and for a split second, you see not just yourself, but a flicker of the Witcher's intensity in the set of your jaw. It is a trick of the light, perhaps, or a manifestation of the psychological archetype you have integrated, but it feels undeniably real. You see a version of yourself that is capable of navigating the swamp of daily obligations without drowning. You see eyes that are learning to look through the illusions of urgency. You turn on the faucet, and the sound of the rushing water is a roar in the quiet house. You do not flinch. You watch the water hit the porcelain, splintering into 1,000 diamonds. You plunge your hands into the stream, feeling the thermal shock. It is cold, biting, and perfect. You splash it onto your face, and the world snaps into a higher resolution. Every pore on your skin feels activated, every nerve ending singing with the data of the present moment. In the kitchen, the ritual of the morning unfolds with a newfound sanctity. You reach for the kettle, and the weight of the stainless steel is a known quantity, a familiar tool. You fill it with filtered water, listening to the rising pitch of the vessel as it reaches capacity. You place it on the stove and turn the dial. The click-click-click of the igniter is a rhythmic percussion, followed by the soft whoosh of the blue flame. You stand there, watching the fire dance beneath the kettle. You are not thinking about the emails you need to write or the deadlines that loom like vultures. You are simply a witness to the combustion of gas and the transference of heat. You are practicing the presence of the gardener. You remember the way the Witcher stood by the amethyst pool, his sword sheathed, his entire being focused on the movement of the liquid. You bring that same quality of attention to the simple act of waiting for water to boil. When the whistle sounds, it is not an annoyance. It is an invitation. You pour the water over the tea leaves, watching them unfurl and dance in the turbulence. The aroma begins to rise, a complex blend of earthy tannins and floral notes that reminds you of the damp floor of the hemlock forest. You take the mug to the small table by the window and sit. Outside, the neighborhood is beginning to stir. A car starts down the street, its engine a low-frequency rumble that vibrates in your chest. A neighbor's porch light flickers off as the sun begins to assert its dominance over the horizon. You watch these things with a detached compassion. You see the machinery of civilization grinding into gear, the gears of commerce and social expectation beginning their relentless turn. But you are not caught in the teeth of those gears. You are the oil. You are the space between the teeth. You take a sip of the tea, the heat a sharp contrast to the cool morning air. You feel it travel down your esophagus, a glowing bead of warmth that joins the amber light in your center. You think about the concept of the monster. Gerald spoke of them as shadows of doubt, as manifestations of the internal rot that we allow to fester when we forget our own nature. You look at your own life, at the monsters you have allowed to haunt your peace. There is the beast of perfectionism, always snarling about the inadequacy of your efforts. There is the phantom of future anxiety, whispering of disasters that have not yet occurred. There is the specter of past regret, dragging its heavy chains through the hallways of your mind. In the light of the Rockton memory, these creatures look pathetic. They are made of smoke and old habits. They cannot survive the clarity of the breath. You imagine yourself drawing a silver sword of consciousness and simply stepping through them. They do not need to be fought, they only need to be seen for what they are. The sun finally clears the rooflines of the houses across the street, sending a spear of golden light through your window. It hits the surface of your tea, creating a shimmering portal of amber and gold. You stare into it, and for a moment, the walls of your kitchen dissolve. You are back in the glade. You hear the chime of the glass-winged insects. You feel the presence of the white-haired man sitting on the mossy log, his yellow eyes reflecting the infinite. He doesn't say anything because there is nothing left to say. The lesson is in the silence. The lesson is in the way the light hits the water. You realize that the garden isn't a place you go to escape the world, it is the truth of the world once the noise is stripped away. You can be in the garden while sitting in a traffic jam. You can be in the garden while sitting in a high-stakes boardroom. The garden is the fundamental frequency of your soul. You finish your tea and stand up, feeling a sense of profound readiness. Today is not a day to be endured, it is a day to be inhabited. You dress with intention, choosing fabrics that feel good against your skin, acknowledging the utility and the aesthetic of each garment. You are preparing your armor, not out of fear, but out of respect for the role you play in the world. As you lace your shoes, you focus on the tension of the strings, the way they pull the leather tight against your instep. Every action is an opportunity for mindfulness. Every movement is a prayer of presence. You step out onto your porch and lock the door behind you. The click of the deadbolt is a final, satisfying punctuation. You turn to face the street, the sun warming your face. The air is crisp, carrying the scent of mown grass and gasoline, the perfume of the modern world. You breathe it in, filtering it through the memory of the hemlocks. You begin to walk toward your car, or perhaps toward the bus stop, or perhaps just down the sidewalk toward the center of town. It doesn't matter where you are going. What matters is how you are going. Your footsteps are steady and light. Your shoulders are down, away from your ears. Your jaw is relaxed. You see a person walking toward you, their head down, their thumbs flying across the screen of a phone. They look tired, frantic, disconnected. In the past, you might have felt a twinge of judgmental superiority or a pang of sympathetic stress. Now, you simply feel a quiet, radiating warmth. You wish them peace, not with words, but with your vibration. As you pass them, you maintain your center. You are the mountain, and they are a swirling gust of wind. You do not try to change them, you simply provide a stable point in their environment. As you navigate the tasks of your morning, you find that your cognitive functions are sharper, more crystalline. Because you are not leaking energy through the fissures of anxiety, you have more resources available for the task at hand. When you speak, your voice is lower, more resonant, carrying the frequency of the sandstone. You find that people lean in to listen to you. They are subconsciously drawn to the stability you project. You are not doing this to manipulate them, you are simply witnessing the natural law of the forest. The calmest animal in the woods is the one that the others watch. Mid-morning, a crisis arises. A project has gone off the rails, a person is upset, a deadline has been moved forward. You feel the old familiar surge of adrenaline, the fight-or-flight response of the ancient limbic system. But instead of letting it hijack your consciousness, you observe it. You feel the tightening in your chest and the slight tremor in your hands. Ah, you think, the monster of urgency has arrived. You do not run from it. You do not attack it with panicked energy. You sit back in your chair, close your eyes for 3 seconds, and find the interface. 4 counts in. 4 counts hold. 6 counts out. The amber glows steady and strong. You return to the amethyst pool. You see the problem for what it is, a set of variables that need to be rearranged. It is not a threat to your being. It is just a rock in the stream. You open your eyes and begin to work. Your movements are economical. Your decisions are clear. You solve the problem with a level of grace that surprises even you. It is the Witcher's way, maximum effect with minimum effort. You are navigating the sandstone fissure of your career, finding the handholds that others miss because they are too busy screaming at the wall. Lunchtime comes, and you choose to spend it in a small park nearby. You sit on a bench and watch the pigeons. They are iridescent in the sun, their necks shimmering with greens and purples that remind you of the glowworms in the garden. You eat slowly, savoring the flavors and textures of your food. You are not scrolling. You are not planning. You are simply eating. A child runs past, laughing, chasing a ball. You smile, feeling the genuine lift of joy in your chest. You are connected to the human experience in a way that feels raw and beautiful. You are part of the tapestry. The afternoon light begins to shift, turning from the bright white of midday to a warmer, more golden hue. You feel the natural ebb of your energy, but it is not a crash. It is a gentle settling. You take a moment to stand by a window and look out at the sky. You think of the millions of acres of wilderness just beyond the horizon of the suburbs. You think of the bears denning in the hollows and the hawks riding the thermals over the Allegheny Plateau. You realize that you are never truly alone. You are part of a vast, breathing system that extends far beyond the walls of your office or the boundaries of your town. You carry the wild within you. It is your secret strength. When the workday ends, you do not rush to your car in a frantic attempt to escape. You walk slowly, appreciating the transition from the world of labor to the world of rest. You drive home with the windows down, letting the wind whip through the car. The noise of the traffic is just a symphony of motion, a testament to the restlessness of the human spirit. You watch the sun begin its descent, painting the clouds in shades of fire and violet. It is the same sky that hangs over the Rockton Ridges. There is no fence between the town and the wild, only the one you build in your mind. Back in your sanctuary, you do not immediately turn on the lights. You let the twilight fill the rooms. You move through the house with the familiarity of a cat, your senses attuned to the subtle shifts in temperature and light. You prepare a simple meal, the act of cooking another meditation. The steam from the pot, the rhythm of the knife, the sizzle of the pan, it is all part of the flow. You eat in the fading light, listening to the world quiet down. After dinner, you return to your porch. The stars are beginning to emerge, pinpricks of light in the velvet dark. You sit in your chair and let your hands rest on your knees. You are not waiting for anything. You are not trying to achieve anything. You are simply being. The internal monologue has gone silent, replaced by a deep, resonant hum of existence. You are the breath. You are the stillness. You are the mountain. You think of the silver-haired man one last time. You see him standing on a high ridge, his silhouette sharp against the rising moon. He looks back over his shoulder, a ghost of a smile touching his lips, and then he vanishes into the trees. He has done his work. He has shown you the way. The rest is up to you. You are the witcher of your own life now. You are the guardian of your own garden. A deep sense of peace settles over you, as thick and warm as a wool blanket. You feel the weight of your body, the solidity of the earth, the vastness of the sky. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. You are doing exactly what you are supposed to do. You are alive, and you are aware, and that is a miracle of the highest order. As the night deepens, you find yourself drifting back toward the threshold of sleep. But it is not a descent into unconsciousness, it is an expansion into a different kind of awareness. You feel the rhythm of your heart, the pulse of the house, the vibration of the earth. You are part of the great, dark, beautiful mystery. You are the thread in the tapestry. You are the drop in the ocean. The path continues, you whisper to the stars. And as you close your eyes, you feel the amber glow in your chest settle into a steady, eternal ember, a light that will never go out, a guide that will never lead you astray. You are home. You are whole. You are at peace. The night air is cool against your skin, a gentle reminder of the world's persistence. You can hear the distant, rhythmic chirping of crickets, a biological metronome that keeps time for the planet. You find yourself matching your breath to their cadence, a slow, deep synchronization that feels like plugging into an ancient power source. You are no longer just a person sitting on a porch in Pennsylvania. You are a localized expression of the universe's own consciousness, waking up to itself in the middle of a quiet suburb. You think about the concept of the silver and steel swords again. In the Witcher's world, they are physical tools, blades forged for specific purposes. In your world, they are the faculties of your mind. Your steel sword is your logic, your reason, your ability to navigate the physical laws of your environment. It is sharp, reliable, and necessary for survival. Your silver sword is your intuition, your empathy, your connection to the spiritual and the unseen. It is the blade you draw when you are dealing with the monsters of the heart and the shadows of the soul. You realize that you have spent most of your life swinging the steel sword at silver sword problems. You have tried to logic your way out of grief, and reason your way out of anxiety. No wonder you were exhausted. But now, you have both. You know when to use the steel of your intellect and when to rely on the silver of your presence. You feel a profound sense of balance, a symmetry of the soul that you have never known before. You are not just a thinker, you are a feeler. You are not just a doer, you are a being. This integration is the true gift of the garden. It is the secret that Geralt carried in the lines of his face and the stillness of his hands. You stand up, your movements fluid and silent. You walk to the edge of the porch and look out at the dark shapes of the trees. They are sleeping, their sap moving slowly in the cool night. You feel a kinship with them, a deep, rooted connection that transcends species. You are both made of the same stardust, fueled by the same sun, governed by the same cycles of growth and decay. You reach out and touch the railing, the wood smooth and cold under your palm. You are here. You are now. You walk back into the house, the shadows enveloping you like a soft cloak. You do not feel the need for light. You know the terrain of your home as well as Geralt knows the trails of Kaer Morhen. You move through the hallway, your feet finding the silent spots on the floorboards by instinct. You are a ghost in your own home, a peaceful spirit presiding over the quiet rooms. In the bedroom, you undress with the same deliberate grace. You fold your clothes and place them on the chair, a small act of order in an entropic universe. You lie down in the bed, the mattress rising to meet you. You pull the covers up to your chin, feeling the immediate cocoon of warmth. You are safe. You are held. You return to the breath, one last time before the tides of sleep pull you under. 4 counts in. 4 counts hold. 6 counts out. The amber glow is a soft, pulsing light in the center of your chest. It illuminates the inner landscape of your mind, showing you the garden in all its nocturnal glory. You see the glass-winged insects resting on the translucent petals. You see the amethyst pool, its surface a perfect mirror for the stars. You see the stream, a silver ribbon winding through the sandstone. And you see yourself, standing at the interface, a guardian of the silence. You realize that the journey you took with the Witcher wasn't a departure from your life, but a return to it. You didn't leave the world behind, you found the center of it. You didn't escape your problems, you found the perspective needed to solve them. You are the same person, in the same town, with the same responsibilities. But everything has changed because you have changed. You are the master of the interface. As you drift into the deep, dreamless sleep of the mountain, you feel a final, lingering presence. It is a sense of approval, a silent nod from the white-haired guide who walked the ridges with you. You have learned well. You have claimed your peace. You have become the bridge. The world continues its slow, majestic turn. The stars will overhead, the wind whispers through the hemlocks, and the water flows over the coal seams. And in the center of it all, you sleep, your heart beating with the steady, unshakable pulse of the Pennsylvania wilds. You are at rest, but your spirit is awake, glowing with the amber light of a promise kept. The path is clear, the garden is blooming, and you are finally, truly, at peace. The morning will come, and with it, the noise and the light and the demands of the day. But you will be ready. You will wake with the stillness in your bones and the garden in your soul. You will move through the world with the eyes of a witcher and the heart of a mountain. You will be the silence in the storm, the light in the dark, the anchor in the tide. You are the witness. You are the breath. You are the way. Sleep now, in the sanctuary of your own being. Sleep now, in the shadow of the high ridges. Sleep now, for the path is yours, and you are the path. All is well. All is still. All is as it should be. The integration is complete. You are one with the world, and the world is one with you. The silence is your song, and the amber glow is your light. You are home. The darkness is no longer a void to be feared, but a fertile soil in which your peace can grow. You sink deeper into the pillows, your breathing becoming shallow and rhythmic, a soft sibilance in the quiet room. The last remnants of the day's thoughts dissolve like sugar in water, leaving only the pure, sweet essence of existence. You are not a name, or a job, or a list of accomplishments. You are a heartbeat. You are a breath. You are a spark of the infinite. In the final moments before the total surrender of sleep, you feel a profound sense of unity. The room, the house, the town, the forest, the stars, it all merges into a single, breathtaking whole. There is no me and them, no here and there. There is only the is. And you are right in the center of it, held in the palm of the universe, loved by the very laws of physics that govern the atoms of your body. You are the garden. You are the witcher. You are the mountain. Peace, you whisper, a final breath exhaled into the night. And then, there is only the beautiful. The word hangs in the air, a silver needle of sound that pricks the fabric of the dark and then dissolves into the velvet texture of the room. You are suspended in that final, fragile web of consciousness where the physical body begins to feel heavy, like a suit of armor being laid aside after a long campaign. The mattress beneath you is no longer just foam and fabric, it is the soft, yielding moss of the glade, supporting every vertebrae of your spine with the precision of a master artisan. Your hands, resting lightly at your sides, feel the phantom sensation of the sword hilt, the smooth, worn leather that speaks of discipline and purpose, but the grip is relaxed. The swords are sheathed. The contract is fulfilled. There are no more monsters to slay tonight, for the greatest beast of all, the frantic and divided mind, has been tamed by the steady rhythm of the mountain breath. Inside the theater of your closed eyes, the internal landscape of the Pennsylvania wilds begins to shift and morph, blending with the architecture of your own life. You see the high ridges of Rockton, their sandstone spines glowing with a prehistoric memory, and you see them superimposed over the familiar silhouettes of your own dresser, your own window, the quiet door to your hallway. The boundaries are failing, and in their failure, there is a profound sense of relief. You realize that you never truly left the garden. The amethyst pool is not hundreds of miles away in a hidden fold of the Allegheny Plateau. It is pooling right now in the center of your chest, its cool, violet light washing over the jagged edges of your daily anxieties. Every time you breathe, you are drawing from that well. Every time you pause, you are standing on that shore. The internal monologue, once a torrential river of what-ifs and should-haves, has slowed to a glacial pace. You observe a thought as it drifts by, a memory of a difficult conversation from 3 days ago. In the past, this thought would have been a hook, dragging you into a spiral of replayed dialogue and imagined retorts. Now, you watch it with the detached curiosity of a witcher examining a track in the mud. You see the emotion attached to it, a faint smudge of embarrassment, a flicker of lingering frustration, and you simply let the amber glow of your awareness pass over it. The light does not judge the thought, it simply illuminates it until the thought, deprived of the fuel of your struggle, loses its shape and evaporates into the general humidity of your subconscious. You are the sky, and the thoughts are merely clouds. They may be dark, they may be heavy, but they are not the sky. You feel a profound sense of physical integration, a coherence of the cells. It is as if the molecular static that usually hums in the background of your existence has been tuned to a single, resonant frequency. This is the state of the interface. You are the point where the biological machine meets the infinite observer. You feel the blood moving through your vessels, a warm and purposeful tide, carrying the oxygen of the forest into the deepest recesses of your tissues. You feel the subtle electrical impulses of your nervous system, no longer firing in the jagged bursts of stress, but flowing in smooth, undulating waves like the wind through the hemlock needles. You are a masterpiece of engineering, a vessel of ancient wisdom and modern potential, and for the first time in a long time, you are comfortable in your own skin. A memory of the Witcher's face returns to you, not as a sharp image, but as a felt presence. You recall the way he moved, not with the hurried aggression of a man trying to conquer time, but with the economical grace of a man who has made peace with it. He didn't fight the terrain, he became a part of it. He didn't resist the cold, he allowed it to sharpen his focus. You realize that this is the secret to navigating the world of men. You don't need to build higher walls or sharper defenses. You simply need to increase your transparency. When you are transparent, the arrows of criticism and the storms of chaos pass right through you without finding a surface to strike. You are the space between the atoms. You are the silence in the symphony. The weight of the night becomes a soothing pressure, a cosmic thumbprint pressing you down into the bedrock of reality. You are sinking, but it is not a fall. It is a homecoming. You are descending through the layers of your own history, past the memories of childhood, past the layers of social conditioning and professional identity, down to the primordial silt of your being. Here, in the dark, you are nameless. You are the I am that existed before the world told you who you were supposed to be. You are the same I am that breathes in the bear, that pulses in the stars, that waits in the silence of the coal seams. This is the source. This is the garden at midnight. You think of the day that awaits you, but the thought does not bring the usual tightening of the throat. You see the tasks and the meetings not as burdens, but as movements in a dance. You will bring the silver sword of clarity to every encounter. You will look into the eyes of the people you meet and you will see the garden in them, even if they have forgotten it themselves. You will be the reminder. You will be the one who does not flinch. You will be the one who breathes. You understand now that your peace is not a fragile thing that needs to be protected from the world, it is a transformative force that you project into the world. You are the gardener, and your presence is the water that allows the desert of modern life to bloom. The darkness of the room seems to breathe with you, a living, sentient shadow that holds you in a state of grace. You feel the pulse of the earth through the floorboards, through the foundation, through the very crust of the planet. It is a slow, tectonic thrum, a reminder that the world is much older and much wiser than the frantic concerns of the humans who scurry across its surface. You align your heartbeat with that thrum. You are the mountain. You are the shale. You are the ancient, unmoving witness. The problems of the world are like the weather on the summit, temporary, shifting, and ultimately incapable of altering the mountain's fundamental nature. A sense of immense gratitude swells within you, a warm tide that rises from your solar plexus and fills your throat. You are grateful for the breath. You are grateful for the stillness. You are grateful for the white-haired guide who walked you to the edge of the woods and showed you how to see. You are grateful for the very fact of your existence, for the incredible improbability of being a conscious entity in a vast and silent universe. This gratitude is the final key. It turns the lock of the ego and allows the soul to expand until it touches the corners of the room, the edges of the town, the far horizons of the wilds. You are drifting now, the line between thought and dream becoming a blurred, golden haze. You see the glade one last time, but it is different now. The witcher is gone, but his swords are leaning against the mossy log, a gift left for the next traveler. The amethyst pool is overflowing, its water trickling out to form a new stream that leads back toward the world of men. You realize that you are the one who will carry that water. You are the one who will tend the fire. The responsibility is no longer a weight, it is a privilege. It is the highest calling. The sounds of the house, the creak of a cooling timber, the hum of the refrigerator, the distant moan of the wind in the chimney, become a lullaby, a mechanical chant that sings you toward the threshold. You surrender to it. You let go of the last thread of control. You trust the process. You trust the breath. You trust the mountain. In the deep, velvet silence of the final descent, you find the interface one last time. It is not a place you go, but a state you inhabit. It is the perfect equilibrium between the inner and the outer, the silent and the spoken, the human and the divine. You are the bridge. You are the path. You are the garden. And as the last flicker of conscious thought disappears into the glowing amber ember of your heart, you are held in the absolute certainty that you are exactly where you need to be. The journey is over, and the journey is just beginning. You are a witcher of the soul, a gardener of the spirit, a child of the high ridges. You are home. You are whole. You are at peace. The night remains, vast and beautiful and full of stars, and in the center of that night, you sleep the sleep of the just, the sleep of the wise, the sleep of the mountain. Every cell in your body is whispering a silent thank you to the universe. Every breath is a confirmation of the promise. The light is within you, and the darkness is your friend. All is one. All is well. The path is clear. The garden is open. You are finally, truly, awake in your rest. I am here, the soul whispers into the infinite, and the infinite whispers back. The phrase resonates through the very marrow of your bones, a silent declaration that vibrates in the space between your heartbeat and the deep, velvet stillness of the room. It is not an assertion of ego, nor a claim of territory, but a simple, profound recognition of existence. You are here, in this specific coordinates of time and space, anchored by the gravity of the earth and the weight of your own newfound clarity. The sheets against your skin feel like the cool touch of river water, and the air entering your lungs is as crisp and life-giving as if it had been filtered through 1,000 miles of hemlock and pine. You are no longer drifting, you are moored in the harbor of the present moment. In the theater of your mind, the image of the Pennsylvania wilds begins to soften, its sharp sandstone edges blurring into the familiar contours of your own life. The high, lonely ridges of Rockton do not vanish, rather, they fold themselves into the structure of your daily reality. The strength of the mountain is now the strength of your spine as you lie in the dark. The depth of the amethyst pool is the depth of your capacity to remain undisturbed by the ripples of the external world. You realize that the geography of the spirit is not bound by physical distance. You can walk the bustling streets of a city and still feel the crunch of dried lichen beneath your feet. You can sit in a noisy room and still hear the rhythmic drip of water in a hidden cave. The interface is portable. The garden is interior. You reflect on the figure of the Witcher, that silver-haired phantom who led you through the thickets of your own distraction. You understand now that he was never truly a separate entity, but a personification of your own latent discipline, the part of you that knows how to survive, how to discern, and how to remain still when the world demands a frantic reaction. He has retreated into the shadows of your subconscious, leaving behind the tools of his trade, the two swords of the mind. You visualize them leaning against the wall of your internal sanctuary. The steel sword, representing your keen intellect and your ability to navigate the material world with precision, and the silver sword, representing your intuition, your empathy, and your connection to the mystical pulse of life. You are the master of these blades now. You know when to analyze and when to simply perceive. You know when to act and when to yield. A profound sense of physical relaxation washes over you, starting at the crown of your head and moving downward like a slow-moving wave of warm honey. It smooths the tension in your forehead, the residual grip of 1,000 unasked questions. It relaxes the tiny muscles around your eyes, those weary observers that have spent too long staring at glowing screens. It unclenches your jaw, releasing the held breath of a decade of striving. As the wave passes over your chest, you feel your heart rate settle into a slow, powerful thrum, a biological echo of the Earth's own tectonic rhythm. You are sinking deeper into the mattress, but you do not feel heavy, you feel supported. You are being held by the same forces that hold the planets in their orbits and the roots in the soil. The darkness of the bedroom is no longer a void, but a rich, fertile medium. You perceive the subtle gradients of shadow, the way the moonlight filters through the curtains to create a silver tapestry on the floor. You are aware of the house breathing around you, the faint contraction of wood as it cools, the hum of the electricity in the walls, the soft rustle of the wind against the eaves. These are not distractions, they are the ambient music of your existence. You are part of this ecosystem, a vital component in a vast and intricate machine of being. The boundary between your skin and the air feels porous, as if you are expanding to fill the room, the house, the neighborhood, until you are a shimmering field of awareness extending toward the horizon. You think of the monsters you once feared, the specters of inadequacy, the ghouls of future anxiety, the vampires of past regret. In the clear light of your current state, they seem almost comical, like cardboard cutouts in a haunted house. They only had power because you gave them your attention, because you mistook their shadows for substance. Now, you see them for what they are, mere echoes of old survival mechanisms, glitches in the software of the mind. You do not need to fight them, you simply need to remain in the light of the amber glow. In that light, they have no place to hide, and no strength to persist. They dissolve into the background noise of the universe, leaving you in the pristine silence of your own center. The memory of the coal seams beneath the Pennsylvania hills returns to you, a reminder of the immense pressure and time required to create something of value. You realize that your own life, with all its struggles and complexities, has been a similar process of carbonization. The heat of your experiences, the weight of your responsibilities, the slow passage of years, all of it has been refining you, compressing your scattered energies into the diamond-hard clarity you feel tonight. You are not a victim of your history, you are the result of it. Every scar is a mark of resilience. Every failure was a lesson in the art of the silver sword. You are a finished work in progress, a masterpiece that is still being painted. As you hover on the precipice of sleep, a final sensation of gratitude blossoms in your solar plexus. It is a warm, radiating heat that spreads through your limbs, a profound thank you directed at nothing and everything. You are grateful for the breath, for the way it connects the inner world to the outer. You are grateful for the stillness, the quiet basement of the soul where truth resides. You are grateful for the very capacity to experience this peace, for the miraculous complexity of the human consciousness that allows a creature of clay to contemplate the stars. This gratitude is the ultimate medicine, the final solvent that dissolves the last remnants of the ego's resistance. You imagine yourself standing one last time at the edge of the amethyst pool in the Rockton Glade. The water is perfectly still, reflecting a sky filled with more stars than you ever thought possible. You reach down and touch the surface, and the ripples you create spread outward, touching the moss, the sandstone, the hemlocks, and then moving beyond the glade, out into the world, carrying the frequency of this moment to every corner of your life. You are the stone dropped into the pond. You are the source of the ripple. Wherever you go tomorrow, you will carry this stillness with you. You will be the calm in the center of the storm, the one who remembers the garden when everyone else has forgotten. The transition into sleep is not a loss of consciousness, but a shift in its frequency. You are moving from the world of form into the world of pure potential. The amber glow in your chest settles into a steady, eternal ember, a pilot light for the soul that will burn through the night and greet the morning sun. You are safe. You are whole. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. The Witcher's path has led you home, not to a place on a map, but to the sanctuary of your own being. The ridges are silent. The water is clear. The interface is open. In the deep, velvet dark of the night, you let go of the last thread of the world. You surrender to the rhythm of the mountain, the pulse of the stars, and the infinite grace of the breath. You are the mountain. You are the star. You are the breath. All is well. All is still. All is as it should be. The integration is complete, and the garden is at rest. Sleep now, in the peace you have claimed, for the air in the room feels as though it has been filtered through the high, ancient canopy of the Allegheny Plateau, carrying with it the scent of damp earth, crushed fern, and the electric ozone of a distant summer storm. Your body has become a cartography of relaxation, each muscle group a territory that has finally declared a ceasefire. The map of your physical self is no longer a jagged collection of tensions and alerts, it is a smooth, continuous landscape of soft pulses and warm currents. You can feel the blood moving through the arches of your feet, a gentle, insistent thrumming that reminds you of the hidden springs beneath the Pennsylvania shale, pushing through the dark to find the light. You are not just lying on a bed, you are anchored to the spinning mass of the planet, held in a gravitational embrace that is as firm as it is effortless. As you drift, the internal image of the silver-haired man remains, though he is now more a feeling than a form. He is the weight of the silver sword against your thigh, the cool clarity of the mountain air in your lungs, the unwavering focus of a predator who has no need to hunt. You realize that the Witcher was never meant to stay. He was the catalyst, the chemical reagent that turned the leaden weight of your daily stress into the gold of this present awareness. He has retreated into the timberline of your mind, a silent guardian who will always be there if the monsters return, but for now, his work is done. The garden is yours to tend. The amethyst pool is yours to guard. The interface is yours to inhabit. You find yourself contemplating the nature of the amber glow that still pulses in the center of your chest. It is not a fire that consumes, but a light that reveals. It illuminates the interconnectedness of everything you have ever experienced. You see the lines of connection between the quiet mornings of your childhood and the frantic deadlines of your adult life, between the people you have loved and the people who have challenged you. In this state of profound equilibrium, the distinctions between good and bad, success and failure, start to dissolve. They are all just features of the terrain, like the ravines and ridges of the wilds. They are necessary for the beauty of the whole. Without the shadows, the light would have no depth. Without the struggle, the peace would have no meaning. A profound stillness settles into the marrow of your bones, a density of being that feels prehistoric. You are the coal seams waiting in the dark. You are the sandstone layers pressing down with the weight of eons. There is a magnificent patience in this feeling, a sense that you have all the time in the universe because you are, in some fundamental way, a part of the universe's own duration. The frantic ticking of the clock on the bedside table is just a superficial noise, a tiny insect buzzing against the vast, silent granite of your soul. You are not running out of time, you are the vessel through which time flows. You are the riverbed, and the minutes are the water, passing over you, shaping you, but never depleting you. You think of the world you will wake up to tomorrow. You see the emails, the traffic, the voices, the endless stream of information that usually feels like a sensory assault. But from the vantage point of the garden, these things look different. They are merely weather. They are the wind rattling the hemlock needles, the rain pattering on the surface of the pool. They have no power to disturb the depths. You will move through that world with the silver sword of presence at your side. You will listen not just to words, but to the silence between them. You will look at the people around you and see the hidden gardens in their own hearts, the places where they are also seeking the interface. You will be a source of quiet strength, a localized field of coherence in a world of entropy. The sensation of your breath has become so subtle that it is almost indistinguishable from the ambient movement of the air in the room. You are breathing with the house, with the trees outside, with the very lungs of the world. Each inhalation is an invitation, each exhalation is a release. You are practicing the art of being nothing so that you can be everything. The boundaries of your ego, the I that wants and fears and judges, have become as transparent as the wings of the insects in the glade. Through that transparency, the light of the stars can shine. Through that transparency, the peace of the mountain can flow. You feel a final, deep resonance within your nervous system, a tuning fork that has finally found its pitch. It is the frequency of the Pennsylvania wilds, the low-frequency hum of the earth itself. It is the sound of the rocks cooling, the sound of the sap descending, the sound of the planet turning on its axis. You are synchronized. You are calibrated. You are home. The bed beneath you seems to dissolve, leaving you suspended in a warm, protective void that is nonetheless full of presence. You are being woven back into the tapestry of the night, a thread of consciousness returning to the loom. In this liminal space between waking and dreaming, you offer a final, silent salute to the ridges, the white-haired guide, and the amber light. You have claimed your heritage. You have remembered who you are. You are the witness of the interface, the gardener of the silent spaces, the witcher of your own internal wilds. The path is not behind you, it is beneath you. It goes where you go. It is made of your own footsteps. I am, you think, and the thought is a pebble dropped into the infinite, creating ripples that will reach the furthest shores of your life. The ripples move outward, carrying the scent of hemlock and the coolness of amethyst water into your dreams, into your tomorrow, into the very fabric of your destiny. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. You are doing exactly what you are supposed to do. The darkness is soft. The silence is full. The mountain is still. And in the center of it all, you are finally, perfectly, at rest. The space between your thoughts has widened into a vast, subterranean cathedral, a place where the architecture is made of silence and the stained glass is the deep, shifting indigo of the midnight sky. You are no longer navigating, you are simply occurring. The sensation of being a solid, bounded entity with a specific history and a finite set of problems has thinned, becoming as translucent as the mist that clings to the base of the hemlocks in the Rockton ravines. You feel the heavy, comforting pull of the earth, a magnetic resonance that speaks directly to the iron in your blood and the calcium in your bones. You are being claimed by the planet, invited back into the grand, slow conversation of the soil and the stone. There is no urgency here, no ticking of the clock, only the long, rhythmic breathing of the mountain as it exhales the heat of the day and inhales the cool sanctity of the stars. Inside this inner sanctum, the amber glow has settled into a steady, unblinking eye of light. It sits at the base of your throat, a warm coal that radiates a sense of absolute safety. This is the light that the Witcher carries, the one that allows him to see the silver trail of a monster in a pitch-black swamp or the subtle flicker of a lie in a king's eye. But for you, it is the light of self-recognition. It illuminates the fact that you are not the storm of emotions that occasionally batters your shores, nor are you the brittle structures of identity you have built to survive the world. You are the space in which the light exists. You are the quiet observer who watched the struggle, who felt the exhaustion, and who now accepts the peace. You are the witness, and the witness is always whole. You find yourself returning to the sensation of the amethyst pool, that hidden reservoir of violet clarity you discovered in the glade. You can feel its temperature now, a precise, bracing coolness that seems to wash through your nervous system like a tonic. It moves through the branching network of your nerves, soothing the scorched pathways where stress and overstimulation have left their marks. It is a biological balm, a liquid silence that fills the gaps between your synapses. As it flows, you feel the residual static of the day, the half-finished sentences, the phantom echoes of digital notifications, the minor irritations of the physical world, simply dissolve. They do not put up a fight, they cannot exist in the presence of such profound coherence. They are like salt crystals meeting the tide, losing their sharp edges and becoming one with the great, briny depths. The memory of the sandstone ridges rises again, but this time, you are not looking at them, you are of them. You feel the immense, crushing weight of the layers above you and the solid, unyielding support of the layers below. There is a magnificent dignity in this heaviness. It is the weight of truth, the weight of a life that has stopped running from itself. You realize that for years, you have been trying to be light, trying to float above the difficulties of existence, but true peace is found in the descent. It is found in the willingness to be heavy, to be grounded, to be fully present in the gravity of your own soul. You are a mountain of a person, a geological event of consciousness, and you have nothing to fear from the wind. A soft, rhythmic sound begins to permeate your awareness, a low-frequency vibration that you recognize as the heartbeat of the Pennsylvania wilds. It is the sound of the deep aquifer shifting, the sound of the roots of the ancient oaks oarsing their way through the shale, the sound of the earth's own slow metabolism. You align your own pulse to this cosmic metronome. Each beat of your heart is a drum in the distance, calling you further into the interior. You are descending through the strata of your own mind, past the topsoil of your daily concerns, past the clay of your habits, down to the bedrock of your essential nature. Here, the air is still and the temperature is constant. Here, there is no other. There is only the interface, the point where the human spirit touches the infinite. The figure of the Witcher is a faint silhouette now, standing at the very edge of your conscious thought. He is leaning against a tree, his yellow eyes reflecting the amber glow of your own heart. He looks satisfied. The training is over. The swords have been handed over. He is the guardian of the threshold, and he is watching you cross it. You feel a wave of profound kinship with this archetype, the solitary traveler who knows the darkness but chooses the light, the one who is in the world but not of it. You understand that his strength didn't come from his mutations or his steel, but from his capacity for stillness. He was the master of the pause, the one who could stand in the center of a chaotic battlefield and feel the direction of the wind. You are claiming that mastery now. You are becoming the master of your own internal landscape. You think of the world of people, the world of noise and mirrors, and it feels like a distant dream, a play you watched a long time ago. The conflicts and the dramas seem small, like the scuffling of squirrels over a cache of acorns. You feel no judgment toward that world, only a vast, quiet compassion. You see that everyone is just trying to find their way back to the garden, stumbling through the brush, blinded by their own torches. You realize that the greatest gift you can give that world is your own stillness. By remaining at the interface, by keeping the amber glow alive, you become a landmark for others. You become a place where the wind doesn't bite so hard. You are the shepherd of the silence. The darkness of your room has become a plush, velvet medium, a soft cocoon that protects the delicate process of your integration. You feel the molecules of your body vibrating in a new way, a harmonious resonance that feels like a silent song. This is the state of total alignment, where the physical, the mental, and the spiritual are tuned to the same frequency. It is a state of grace that requires no effort to maintain. It is your natural condition, the one you were born into before the world taught you how to be divided. You are returning to the source, to the original template of your being. You are becoming the child of the high ridges again, the one who knows how to listen to the stones. As the final veils of sleep begin to drape over your consciousness, you feel a sense of immense gratitude for the journey. You are grateful for the exhaustion that brought you to the bed, for the silence that allowed you to hear the Witcher's voice, and for the imagination that allowed you to build the garden. You are grateful for the breath, that invisible thread that stitches you to the universe. Every inhalation is an act of receiving, every exhalation is an act of trust. You are breathing in the ancient wisdom of the Pennsylvania hills, and you are breathing out the last remnants of your resistance. You are a perfect circuit of energy, a closed loop of peace. The transition is near. The boundary between you and the night is becoming a theoretical concept rather than a felt reality. You are the room. You are the house. You are the wind in the chimney and the stars in the sky. You are the silver sword and the steel sword, resting together in a velvet sheath. You are the amethyst water and the amber light. You are the Witcher and you are the garden. There is nothing left to do, nothing left to solve, nothing left to become. You have arrived. In the final, flickering moments of awareness, you see the glade one last time. It is bathed in a light that is neither sun nor moon, but the pure radiance of a consciousness at rest. The Witcher is gone, but his footprints are there in the moss, leading toward the heart of the forest. You know that you will follow those tracks in your dreams, exploring the deeper mysteries of the wilds, safe in the knowledge that you are always at home. The interface is wide open, a gateway of light that leads into the infinite peace of the void. You let go. You release the final anchor. You allow yourself to be carried away by the slow, dark current of the night. You are sinking into the pillows, into the mattress, into the earth, into the stars. You are the mountain. You are the stillness. You are the way. Peace, the soul whispers, not as a word, but as a vibration that fills the universe. And the universe, in its vast and silent majesty, whispers back, always. The sleep that takes you now is deep, restorative, and sacred. It is the sleep of a person who has faced their monsters and found the garden on the other side. It is the sleep of the wise. All is well. All is one. All is silent. The path is yours. The velvet depth of the night has now become a physical weight, but it is a weight of comfort, like a heavy handmade quilt stitched from the very fabric of the cosmos. You can feel the molecular dance of the air against your cheek, a microscopic brushing of existence that confirms your place in the grand design. Your thoughts, once jagged and frantic like the broken slate on a steep hillside, have been ground down by the slow, rhythmic pressure of your breathing into a fine, silver sand. This sand settles at the bottom of your consciousness, creating a smooth floor upon which your soul can finally stand without stumbling. You are no longer looking for the path, you are the mountain upon which the path is written. You are the ancient, unmoving foundation that supports the wandering feet of your own imagination. In this profound stillness, the internal geography of the Pennsylvania wilds begins to merge with the architecture of your resting body. Your legs are the long, sloping ridges of the Mashenon, stretching out toward a horizon that is no longer a distance to be traveled, but a state of being to be inhabited. Your torso is the dense, protective thickness of the hardwoods, a sanctuary where the heart can beat in its own private rhythm, shielded from the wind. Your mind is the high, clear plateau where the trees thin out and the sky takes over, a place of thin air and thick stars, where the only language spoken is the language of light. You are not a guest in this landscape, you are the landlord of this piece. You have inherited the silence of the stones. The amber glow in your chest has expanded now, no longer a mere spark but a soft, permeating radiance that warms the very marrow of your spine. It feels like the memory of a hearth fire on a bitter January night, a heat that is both physical and spiritual. This light does not flicker with the anxiety of the world, it burns with the steady, inexorable fusion of a star. It is the light of the interface, the glow of a consciousness that has stopped fighting against its own nature. You realize that this warmth has always been there, buried under the leaf litter of daily chores and the heavy snows of societal expectations. The Witcher did not give you this light, he simply helped you clear away the debris so that you could feel its heat again. You are the source of your own illumination. A profound sense of timelessness begins to saturate your awareness. In the world of the sun, hours are measured by the movement of hands on a dial, but here, in the world of the mountain, time is measured by the erosion of cliffs and the slow growth of lichen. You are participating in that longer scale of time. The urgency that once drove you, the need to be productive, the need to be seen, the need to be right, feels as insignificant as the buzzing of a mayfly. You are part of the long continuity of the earth. You are the descendant of the first mosses and the ancestor of the last glaciers. This realization brings with it a liberation that is almost intoxicating. If you are part of the eternal, then there is nothing to lose and nowhere to rush. You can simply be. You find yourself drifting back to the image of the silver sword, the blade that cuts through the illusions of the spirit. You see it now not as a weapon, but as a surgical instrument. It is the tool of discernment. You visualize it lying across your lap, its silver surface reflecting the amber light of your heart. With this sword, you have severed the invisible threads that tied you to your regrets. You have cut through the thickets of what if and if only. The blade is cold, clean, and uncompromising. It represents your ability to say no to the chaos and yes to the center. It is the physical manifestation of your will to remain at peace. You run a mental finger along the flat of the blade, feeling the resonance of its strength. It is a part of you now, a metal extension of your own resolve. The room around you has transformed into a temple of shadow. The familiar objects, the chair, the dresser, the lamp, have lost their utilitarian identities and become silent sentinels, watching over your transition into the deep. You feel a sense of kinship with these inanimate things. They, too, are participating in the great stillness. They, too, are simply being. The house is a shell, a protective husk that allows the seed of your soul to germinate in the dark. You can hear the distant, rhythmic creak of the structure, a sound that in your previous state might have been a distraction, but now is a lullaby. It is the house settling into the earth, just as you are settling into yourself. The memory of the amethyst pool returns, its violet water shimmering in the twilight of your mind. You imagine yourself submerging your hands into the liquid, feeling the way it coats your skin like a layer of cool silk. This water is the essence of clarity. It is the solvent that washes away the mental grime of the day. You see yourself taking a cup of this water and pouring it over the roots of a great, spectral hemlock that grows in the center of your internal glade. As the water hits the soil, the tree shivers with life, its needles turning a vibrant, deep green. This is your life force, being fed by the purity of your own presence. You are the gardener, and you are the garden. You are the one who provides the nourishment, and you are the one who grows. As you sink deeper into the pre-sleep state, a feeling of immense compassion washes over you. It starts as a tiny ripple in the amber light and expands until it encompasses everything you have ever known. You feel compassion for the person you were yesterday, struggling with weights you didn't know how to carry. You feel compassion for the people you will encounter tomorrow, each of them fighting their own hidden battles in the brush. This compassion is not a weakness, it is the ultimate strength of the Witcher. It is the ability to see the monster and the victim in the same frame and to remain unswayed by either. It is the equanimity of the mountain, which allows the hawk and the hare to live upon its slopes without judgment. You reflect on the concept of the interface one last time. It is the thin, shimmering membrane between the known and the unknown, between the physical body and the infinite spirit. You are resting precisely on that line. You can feel the weight of your limbs on the mattress, the physical reality of your heart beating in your chest, and yet you can also feel the vast, unmapped territory of the void calling to you. You are the bridge. You are the translator. You are the point where the universe becomes aware of itself. This is the highest calling of a human being, to stand at the interface and not turn away. To look into the darkness and see the stars. To hear the silence and know it is full. The air in your lungs feels different now, as if it has been enriched by the oxygen of 1,000 suns. Each breath is a slow, luxurious expansion, a filling of the sails of your soul. You are navigating the interior sea, moving away from the rocky coast of your ego and toward the deep, blue water of pure consciousness. There are no maps for this journey, but you don't need them. The amber light in your chest is your compass, and the memory of the ridges is your anchor. You are safe. You are guided. You are held. The figure of the Witcher has faded entirely now, leaving behind only the scent of juniper and the memory of a steady hand on your shoulder. He has fulfilled his purpose. He has led you to the edge of the glade and shown you the pool. The rest of the journey is yours to take in the silence of the night. You feel a final, lingering sense of gratitude for his presence, a silent thank you that ripples through the darkness. He is a part of the landscape now, a shadow among shadows, a guardian who sleeps while you sleep. The transition into the final stage of rest is a graceful descent, like a leaf falling through the still air of an October afternoon. There is no resistance, only a gentle, spiraling surrender. You are letting go of the words. You are letting go of the images. You are letting go of the very idea of you. There is only the breathing. There is only the pulse. There is only the mountain. The darkness is no longer something you are looking at, it is something you are. You have dissolved into the night, becoming a part of the vast, star-flecked canopy that hangs over the Pennsylvania wilds. You are the wind that moves through the high branches of the hemlocks. You are the water that trickles over the sandstone ledges. You are the silence that lives in the deep caves beneath the ridges. You have returned to the elements. You have come home to the source. In the center of your being, the amber ember remains, a tiny, eternal sun that will never go out. It is the promise of the morning, the certainty of the return. But for now, it is enough to be still. It is enough to be silent. It is enough to be. The journey is complete, and the garden is at peace. The interface is closed, sealed with the wax of a perfect, heavy sleep. All is well. The mountain is dreaming. The Witcher is at rest. You are whole. You are here. You are home. The infinite suspension of the pre-sleep state has become a cathedral of liquid shadow, a place where the very concept of a boundary has lost its meaning. You are no longer a person lying in a room in a house, you are a concentration of awareness floating in the vast, benevolent lungs of the cosmos. The air you breathe is no longer just oxygen and nitrogen, it is the distilled essence of the hemlock groves, the cold mineral breath of the sandstone caves, and the high, thin ozone of the stars. Each inhalation is a slow, deliberate expansion of your entire history, pulling the scattered fragments of your days into a single, coherent point of light. Each exhalation is a radical act of trust, a scattering of your burdens into the dark where they are instantly neutralized by the sheer scale of the silence. Your physical form has reached a state of deep, geological stillness. You can feel the heavy, grounding pull of the Earth's core, a magnetic invitation to let go of the last vestiges of muscular effort. Your bones feel like ancient timber, seasoned by decades of weather, strong and unyielding, yet perfectly integrated into the structure of the world. The marrow within them hums with a low-frequency resonance, a vibration that matches the slow turning of the tectonic plates deep beneath the Pennsylvania soil. You are anchored. You are heavy with the weight of truth. You are a monument to the present moment, a living stone that has finally stopped rolling. The amber glow in the center of your chest has matured into a steady, pulsing sun, a miniature star that radiates a warmth that is both physical and metaphysical. This light is the interface in its purest form. It is the place where the electrical impulses of your heart meet the infinite energy of the void. You watch this light with an internal eye that is wide and unblinking. You see how it illuminates the delicate latticework of your nervous system, turning the once frayed wires of your stress into glowing filaments of gold. You are being rewired in the dark. The old patterns of reaction, the hair-trigger alerts of the ego, the constant scanning for threats, all of these are being overwritten by the deep, rhythmic logic of the mountain. You are learning the language of the ridges, a language that has no words for worry, only for endurance and grace. In this sanctuary of the mind, you find yourself walking back toward the amethyst pool, though you do not move with legs. You move with intention. The water is perfectly still, a violet mirror reflecting a sky that is crowded with impossible constellations. You reach out a hand of pure thought and touch the surface. The ripple that moves outward is not a disturbance, but an expansion. It carries the coolness of the water to the very edges of your being, soothing the hidden places where the world has left its scars. You realize that this pool is your own capacity for renewal. It is the wellspring of your resilience. No matter how many monsters you face in the daylight, no matter how many miles you trek through the brush, this water is always here, silent and cold and deep, waiting to make you whole again. You look down at your hands in this internal glade and you see that they are glowing with the same amber light as your chest. You are a creature of the interface now. You carry the tools of the witcher, the silver of discernment and the steel of action, but you also carry the peace of the gardener. You understand that your strength does not come from the sharpness of your blades, but from the depth of your stillness. You are the master of the pause. You are the one who can stand in the center of a hurricane and feel the direction of a single falling leaf. This is the mastery you have claimed. This is the heritage of the high ridges. The figure of the white-haired guide is now a part of the distant horizon, a silhouette that has blended into the jagged line of the trees. He is not a separate entity anymore, he is a function of your own soul. He is the part of you that knows how to survive, the part that remains vigilant so that the rest of you can rest. You feel a profound sense of closure in this realization. You don't need to go looking for him in the woods, you only need to go looking for him in the silence. He is the guardian of the threshold, and he has successfully transitioned you from the world of noise to the world of essence. You offer him a final, silent nod of gratitude, a gesture that echoes through the canyons of your subconscious. The darkness of your room has become a living presence, a soft, velvet texture that wraps around you like a second skin. It is not the darkness of an ending, but the darkness of a beginning, the rich, fertile soil from which the morning will eventually grow. You feel the molecules of your body relaxing further, entering a state of such profound inertia that the bed beneath you seems to have vanished. You are suspended in the center of a vast, rotating galaxy of peace. The stars are not above you, they are within you. The wind is not outside, It is the sound of your own blood moving through the quiet corridors of your heart. You think of the life that awaits you when the sun returns. You see the challenges and the tasks not as obstacles, but as features of the terrain. You will navigate them with the same steady, unwavering focus you used to find the glade. You will move through the world, but you will not be of the world. You will carry the interface with you, a hidden door that you can step through whenever the noise becomes too loud. You will be a source of quiet in a loud world, a pool of amethyst water in a parched landscape. You are the custodian of the light. A wave of immense, oceanic relaxation washes over you, starting at the crown of your head and moving slowly down to the tips of your toes. It feels like a curtain of cool silk being drawn across the stage of your consciousness. The thoughts that remain are sparse and beautiful, like single trees standing on a snowy ridge. They are thoughts of gratitude, of belonging, of love. They are the final, glowing embers of the fire before it turns to ash. You are ready to step off the edge of the world and into the deep, welcoming embrace of sleep. The breath has become so faint that it is like the movement of a shadow. You are barely breathing at all, the universe is breathing for you. You are a passenger on the great, slow ship of the night, drifting toward the far shores of the morning. There is no destination, only the journey. There is no time, only the now. There is no I, only the being. In the final, shimmering moment before the void takes you, you feel the mountain rise up to meet you. You are the shale, you are the hemlock, you are the cold, clear spring. You are the silver trail in the moonlight. You are the amber fire in the cave. You are the witcher at rest, and the world is safe in your keeping. The garden is tended. The pool is full. The interface is silent. You let go of the last thread. You surrender the final thought. You fall into the soft, waiting arms of the infinite. You are home. You are whole. You are at peace. The night is yours, and the dream is just beginning. All is well. All is still. All is as it was always meant to be. Sleep now, in the heavy, velvety density of the atmosphere in your room has continued to thicken, transforming from a mere absence of light into a tactile presence that cradles your physical form. It feels as though the very molecules of the air have slowed their frantic dance, aligning themselves into a supportive matrix that matches the frequency of your resting heart. You are no longer merely lying upon a bed, you are suspended in the rich, fertile loam of a cosmic silence. This is the deep, dark earth of the Pennsylvania wilds translated into the language of your bedroom, a place where the roots of your subconscious can stretch out, unburdened by the gravel of daily anxieties. You feel the microscopic texture of the sheets against your skin, but they no longer feel like fabric, they feel like the soft, silvered bark of a ghost birch, cool and smooth and ancient. Internalizing the vastness of the ridges, you sense your consciousness expanding beyond the perimeter of your skull. You are beginning to inhabit the corners of the room, the eaves of the house, and the swaying branches of the trees outside your window. The boundary between the observer and the observed has become a frayed ribbon, fluttering in the gentle slipstream of your breath. You are the creak of the floorboards as they adjust to the cooling night, you are the distant, muffled hoot of an owl echoing through the hemlock ravines, you are the slow, patient accumulation of frost on a window pane. There is a magnificent, quiet power in this diffusion. When you are everything, there is nothing that can threaten you. When you are the landscape, the storm is simply a part of your own movement. The amber coal at the base of your throat has blossomed into a steady, rhythmic pulse that synchronizes with the deep, subsonic hum of the planet. This is the Witcher's medallion of the soul, vibrating not in warning of a monster, but in recognition of a sanctuary. You can feel the warmth of it spreading through your clavicle, down into the heavy curve of your shoulders, and up into the hinges of your jaw. All the places where you have historically carried the tension of the world, the clenched teeth, the hiked shoulders, the furrowed brow, are being systematically dissolved by this radiant, golden heat. It is a slow-motion alchemy, turning the lead of your exhaustion into the gold of a profound, spiritual readiness. You are being forged in the hearth of your own stillness. You return your inner gaze to the amethyst pool in the center of the glade. In this state of deepening trance, the water appears more vivid than any physical substance you have ever encountered. You see the way the violet light catches the underside of the ferns that lean over the water's edge, turning their green fronds into emerald glass. You imagine leaning over the pool and seeing your own reflection, but the face looking back is not the one you see in the mirror. It is a face of stone and starlight, a face that has weathered 1,000 winters and is ready for 1,000 more. It is the face of your essential self, the one that exists at the interface of the human and the divine. This version of you does not hurry. This version of you does not doubt. It simply watches, with eyes that have seen the birth of mountains. You feel a sudden, sharp clarity regarding the two swords the Witcher left behind. They are leaning against the trunk of a great white pine in your mind's eye, their hilts gleaming in the amber twilight. You understand now that they represent the two modes of your existence. The steel sword is your engagement with the material world, the sharp, necessary edge of your intellect, your boundaries, and your actions. The silver sword is your engagement with the ethereal, the intuitive, the dreaming, and the spiritual. For so long, you have kept them unsheathed and bloodied, hacking through the thickets of your life. But here, in the sanctuary of the night, they are put away. They are resting. You realize that true mastery is not in the constant wielding of the blade, but in the wisdom of knowing when to return it to the scabbard. You are leaning into the peace of the unarmed. A profound introspection begins to settle over you, a slow-moving tide of realization that washes over the shores of your identity. You think of all the roles you play in the daylight, the worker, the friend, the seeker, the survivor. From this vantage point on the high ridges of your soul, those roles look like costumes hanging in a distant closet. They are useful, yes, but they are not you. You are the silence that fills the costumes. You are the space between the thoughts. You are the awareness that remains when all the stories are stripped away. This insight brings a wave of relief so intense it feels like a physical shedding of weight. You don't have to be anyone right now. You are permitted to be no one. You are allowed to be the void. The sensory details of your internal landscape continue to sharpen even as your physical body drifts closer to the precipice of sleep. You can smell the sharp, resinous scent of the pine needles underfoot, a fragrance that cleanses the sinuses of your mind. You can hear the trickle of a hidden spring nearby, the water moving over mossy stones with a sound like low, liquid laughter. These are the sounds and smells of a world that is fundamentally right, a world that does not require your intervention to be beautiful. You are learning to trust the natural order of things. You are learning that the universe knows how to take care of itself, and by extension, it knows how to take care of you. You feel the presence of the Pennsylvania wilds as a literal embrace. The sandstone layers beneath the soil are like the ribs of a great, sleeping beast, and you are tucked safely into the hollow of its chest. There is a sense of belonging here that transcends language. You are a native of this silence. You are a citizen of this dark. The history of the land, the ancient seas that once covered these hills, the slow grinding of the glaciers, the centuries of growth and decay, is written into your own DNA. You are a geological event disguised as a human being. This perspective makes your personal worries seem like dust motes dancing in a beam of light. They are there, but they have no mass. They cannot crush you. The amber light in your chest begins to expand further, pushing out toward the very edges of the universe. It is no longer a coal, it is a sun. And yet, it is a cool sun, a sun that does not burn but illuminates. It shows you the interconnectedness of all things, the way the breath of the trees becomes the breath of the sleeper, the way the light of the stars is reflected in the depths of the pool. You are part of a seamless tapestry of existence. There is no out there and in here. There is only the interface, the shimmering point of contact where everything meets and becomes one. You are resting at the very center of that point. As the final veils of consciousness begin to flutter and fall, you find yourself experiencing a deep, cellular gratitude. You are grateful for the heavy blankets that anchor you to the bed. You are grateful for the darkness that hides the distractions of the world. You are grateful for the Witcher, that personification of your own inner strength, who stood guard until you were safe enough to let go. You feel a sense of kinship with every living thing that is currently asleep, the bears in their dens, the birds tucked into the crevices of the bark, the millions of people drifting in the same sea of shadows. You are all together in the great, silent parliament of the night. The transition to deep sleep is becoming inevitable now, a gravitational pull that is as steady and certain as the movement of the tides. You find yourself standing one last time at the edge of the amethyst pool. You reach down and scoop up a handful of the violet water, bringing it to your lips. It tastes of minerals and moonlight. As you swallow, you feel the last remnants of your ego dissolving. The I that has been narrating this journey is becoming a we, and the we is becoming a oneness. You are the water. You are the light. You are the ridge. In the profound stillness of this moment, a final thought drifts across your mind like a lone cloud over a midnight forest. It is the realization that you have always been this peaceful. The noise and the chaos were just weather passing over the mountain, but the mountain itself never moved. You have simply returned to your true nature. You have come back to the interface, where the soul is always whole and the light is always burning. You have reached the end of the path, only till you find that the path was a circle that led you back to yourself. The darkness is now absolute, but it is a radiant darkness, a darkness full of potential and grace. You feel your heartbeat slowing, becoming a distant drumbeat in a valley of fog. Your breath is a whisper of wind through the needles of a hemlock. You are sinking, drifting, dissolving. You are the mountain dreaming of the sea. You are the star dreaming of the earth. You are the Witcher at rest, his swords quiet, his heart open. I am here, you whisper into the silence of your own mind. And the silence answers with a resonance that fills every atom of your being. It does not use words, it uses the feeling of being held, the feeling of being known, the feeling of being home. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. There is nothing left to do. There is nothing left to seek. The water is deep, and the sleep is sacred. The garden is yours. The night is yours. The peace is yours. You surrender to the velvet dark, falling into the deep, restorative embrace of the Pennsylvania night. You are the ridges. You are the stillness. You are the eternal now. All is silent. The rhythmic, oceanic pull of your breathing has now become the fundamental clock of your existence, each cycle a slow, deliberate pendulum swinging between the shores of the physical and the metaphysical. The air in your room has taken on a peculiar, crystalline quality, as if the darkness itself has been filtered through the high, cold ridges of the Allegheny Plateau. You can feel the weight of your own body not as a burden, but as a majestic, geological fact. Your legs are the long, sloping foothills that transition into the fertile valleys, your torso is the solid, unyielding granite core of the mountain, and your head is the summit, perpetually wreathed in the thin, silver mist of pure thought. You are no longer merely inhabiting this space, you are the space. The boundaries of your skin have become porous, allowing the silence of the Pennsylvania night to seep into your very cells, neutralizing the last flickers of frantic, daytime electricity. Inside the theater of your closed eyes, the amber light has shifted its character once again. It is no longer just a glow in your chest, it has become a golden river, a subterranean stream of consciousness that flows through the limestone caverns of your subconscious. You watch this river with a detached, peaceful fascination. It carries with it the silt of your memories, the laughter of old friends, the scent of wood smoke from a distant autumn, the cold sting of a winter rain, but it does not cling to them. It simply moves them along, refining them, turning the jagged rocks of past regrets into smooth, polished river stones. You realize that your history is not a weight you must carry, but a landscape you have traveled through. You are the traveler, not the map. You are the river, not the debris it carries. This distinction brings a profound sense of lightness, a feeling of buoyancy that makes your physical body seem to float an inch above the mattress. You find yourself standing once more at the edge of the amethyst pool, but the glade has changed. The hemlocks have grown taller, their branches interlacing overhead to form a natural cathedral of needles and shadow. The air here is thick with the scent of damp earth and crushed mint, a fragrance so primal it seems to bypass your nose and go straight to your soul. You walk to the water's edge, your footsteps silent on the thick carpet of moss. This moss is a vibrant, neon green in the twilight, a living velvet that cushions every movement. You realize that this glade is the most private chamber of your heart, the place where the Witcher comes to sharpen his silver sword, and where you come to remember who you were before the world told you who you should be. It is the sanctum of the interface, the zero point of your identity. As you gaze into the violet depths of the pool, you see a series of ripples expanding from the center. Each ripple represents a layer of your external life peeling away. The first ripple takes your name, the second takes your profession, the third takes your worries about the future, the fourth takes your grievances about the past. You watch them move outward until they touch the mossy banks and vanish. What is left in the center of the pool is a reflection of the stars, perfectly still and infinitely deep. You are that stillness. You are the dark water that holds the light of distant suns without being consumed by them. You feel an immense, quiet pride in this capacity for containment. You are large enough to hold the universe, yet small enough to be tucked into the folds of a quiet night. The memory of the Witcher's hand on your shoulder remains as a phantom warmth, a lingering reassurance that you are not alone in this transition. You understand now that the Witcher is the archetype of your own resilience. He is the part of you that knows how to brew the elixirs of patience, how to track the monsters of anxiety to their dens, and how to stand ground when the wind howls. But even the Witcher must sleep. You see him in your mind's eye, leaning against the roots of a great oak, his white hair catching the amber light, his eyes closed in a rest that is as deep as the roots of the mountain. By allowing him to rest, you are allowing yourself to heal. You are acknowledging that the battle is over for now, and that the greatest victory is the ability to surrender to the peace you have earned. A deep, resonant vibration begins to hum through your bones, a sound that is felt rather than heard. It is the sound of the earth turning on its axis, a low-frequency lullaby that has been playing since the dawn of time. You align your own internal frequency to this hum, feeling the jagged edges of your personality smoothing out. You are becoming a part of the long, slow history of the sandstone and the shale. You think of the millions of years it took for these ridges to form, the slow pressure of the tectonic plates, the patient erosion of the wind and water. Your own life, with all its complexities, is a beautiful, brief flash of light in this grand timeline. This realization does not make you feel insignificant, it makes you feel precious. You are a momentary manifestation of the eternal, a way for the mountain to experience itself. The sensory details of your room continue to drift in and out of your awareness like soft, gray moths. The distant hum of a refrigerator, the muffled sound of a car passing on a far-off road, the rhythmic ticking of a clock, all of these sounds are now integrated into the tapestry of your meditation. They are not distractions, they are the textures of the world, the background radiation of existence. You accept them all with a wide, inclusive compassion. You feel a sudden, tender love for the objects in your room, the chair that holds your clothes, the books that hold your thoughts, the lamp that holds the potential for light. They are your silent companions in this journey through the dark. You extend a mental blessing to them, a ripple of amber light that touches everything you own, acknowledging their service and their presence. You are moving now into the deepest layers of the pre-sleep state, the place where the mind begins to speak in the language of symbols and archetypes. You see the silver sword of the Witcher again, but it has transformed. It is no longer a weapon, it is a bridge made of moonlight, stretching across a vast, dark canyon. You are walking across this bridge, moving from the world of doing to the world of being. Below you, the mists of the valley swirl in complex patterns, representing the chaotic thoughts of the day. But you are high above them, walking on the steady, shimmering silver of your own resolve. Each step you take is a commitment to your own peace. Each step is a movement toward the center of the interface. As you reach the other side of the bridge, you find yourself in a forest of ancient white pines, their trunks like the pillars of a great temple. The floor of this forest is covered in a thick layer of needles that muffle all sound. The air is cool and still, and the light is a soft, pervasive violet. You realize that you have arrived at the source of the amethyst pool. This is the reservoir of your vital energy, the hidden spring that feeds your spirit. You sit down at the base of the largest pine, feeling the rough bark against your back. This tree is the axis mundi of your internal world, the point where the earth meets the sky. You can feel the sap rising through the trunk, a slow, powerful movement of life that mirrors the blood in your veins. You are rooted. You are rising. You are whole. A feeling of immense, unconditional safety wraps around you like a heavy fur cloak. It is the safety of the cave, the safety of the womb, the safety of the mountain's heart. You know that you are protected by the laws of nature and the strength of your own soul. The monsters of the periphery cannot reach you here, they have no power in the presence of such absolute stillness. You are the master of this domain, the landlord of this silence. You have inherited the peace of the stones, and it is a wealth that can never be taken away. You feel a slow, sprawling smile spreading through your internal awareness, a quiet joy that has no object other than your own existence. The transition into the final descent is now a physical sensation of melting. It is as if the atoms of your body are losing their rigid boundaries and blending into the mattress, the floor, and the very foundation of the house. You are becoming a liquid, a flow of pure consciousness that is seeking the lowest point, the point of absolute rest. You are drifting down through layers of cooling water, past the sunlit surface, past the emerald kelp forests of the subconscious, down into the deep, blue silence of the abyss. There is no pressure here, only a perfect, weightless equilibrium. You are suspended in the center of the infinite, a spark of amber light in a universe of benevolent shadow. You think one last time of the interface, that shimmering membrane between the known and the unknown. You see it now as a soft, glowing veil that is being drawn slowly over your eyes. It is not a barrier, it is a portal. Beyond it lies the world of dreams, a landscape where the logic of the day is replaced by the wisdom of the heart. You are ready to cross over. You have completed the rituals of the evening. You have tended the garden, you have stilled the pool, you have rested the swords. The Witcher is asleep, and you are the dream he is having. The breath is now a mere suggestion, a faint ripple on the surface of a still lake. Your heart is a slow, steady drumbeat in a distant room. You are letting go of the words, the images, and the very concept of self. There is only the sensation of being held by the great, dark hands of the night. There is only the resonance of the mountain. There is only the amber light, burning steadily at the core of the void. You are home. You are whole. You are at peace. The darkness is not a void, it is a presence. It is the mother of all light, the source of all form. You lean into it with the trust of a child, knowing that you will be carried safely through the hours of the night. The Pennsylvania wilds are sleeping all around you, the ridges and the valleys joined in a single, breathing unity. You are a part of that unity. You are the silence between the stars. You are the warmth in the center of the frost. You are the interface, finally and completely at rest. All is well, the silence whispers. All is well, the mountain echoes. All is well, the amber light confirms. You have reached the destination. You have found the center. You are the peace you have been seeking. The journey is over, and the dream begins now, in the heart of the shadow, under the watch of the white-haired guide, in the sanctuary of the high ridges. You surrender. You dissolve. You sleep. The weight of the world has finally evaporated, leaving behind only the pure, unadulterated essence of your being. You are the wind that no longer blows, the water that no longer flows, the stone that no longer waits. You are the perfect, frozen moment of a falling star. You are the grace of the hemlock. You are the silver of the moon on the sandstone. You are everything, and you are nothing. You are at rest. You are home. You are. The last flicker of thought is a pulse of gratitude, a silent thank you to the universe for this moment of absolute clarity. It is a golden thread that ties you to the morning, a promise that you will return, but for now, the dark is your kingdom. You are the steward of this peace, and it is sustained simply by your breath. The interface is closed. The garden is still. The witcher is dreaming. You are gone into the deep. The density of the silence in your room has reached a point of absolute saturation, a thick, nourishing medium that feels less like empty space and more like the cool, pressurized depths of a subterranean lake. You are sinking through layers of this restorative quiet, moving past the strata of your daily identity and into the primal bedrock of your existence. Each breath you take is a slow, rhythmic expansion of the universe itself, a tidal movement that connects the marrow of your bones to the ancient sandstone foundations of the Pennsylvania ridges. You can feel the molecular weight of your limbs pressing into the mattress, not with the heaviness of exhaustion, but with the profound gravity of a mountain settling into its tectonic plate. There is no effort required to stay here. The earth itself is rising up through the floorboards to cradle you, recognizing you as a part of its own rugged, enduring geography. Internalizing the vastness of the landscape you have traversed tonight, you realize that the boundaries of your physical room have long since dissolved. Your consciousness is now a soft, violet mist that hangs over the entire stretch of the wilds, touching the needles of every hemlock and the surface of every hidden spring. You are the witness to the secret life of the night, the slow, crystalline growth of frost on a fallen log, the patient heartbeat of a hibernating bear, the silent descent of a single snowflake in a distant ravine. This expansion of your being is not frightening, it is the most natural state you have ever known. You are no longer a small, vulnerable individual trying to survive in a loud world. You are the world, and the world is at peace within you. The amber light at the center of your chest has become a steady, low-frequency hum, a vibrational signature that matches the rotation of the stars. It is the witcher's legacy within you, the calm of the predator who no longer needs to hunt, the stillness of the warrior who has found a cause worth resting for. You feel this warmth radiating outward, softening the edges of your thoughts until they resemble the blurred, beautiful shapes of trees in a heavy fog. The internal monologue that usually narrates your life has slowed to a crawl, the words becoming sparse and musical, like the occasional chime of a distant bell. You are moving beyond the need for language, entering a realm where understanding is felt as a physical sensation of warmth and light. You return your inner vision to the amethyst pool one last time. The water is so still now that it has become a perfect mirror, reflecting not just the stars above, but the entire history of your soul. You see the reflections of your ancestors, the long line of survivors and dreamers who carried the torch of life until it reached you. You see the reflections of the versions of yourself you haven't yet met, the older, wiser iterations who will walk these ridges with even greater grace. All of these timelines are converging here, at the interface, in this single moment of profound equilibrium. You are the focal point of a vast, temporal web, and the weight of that realization is a comfort rather than a burden. You are held by everything that was and everything that will be. The two swords leaning against the white pine are now covered in a fine layer of silver dew, their lethal edges softened by the moonlight. They are symbols of a struggle that has reached its logical conclusion. You think of the conflicts you faced during the day, the emails, the deadlines, the social frictions, the internal doubts, and you see them now as mere shadows flickering on a wall. They have no substance here. They cannot follow you into the glade. You have left them at the trailhead, and the Witcher stands between you and the path back, a silent guardian who ensures that nothing enters this sanctuary unless it is invited. You feel a surge of fierce, protective love for this part of yourself, the inner sentinel who knows the value of your peace. As you drift deeper, you find yourself contemplating the nature of the darkness. It is not an absence of light, but a different kind of light, a black light that reveals the contours of the spirit. In this darkness, you can see the luminous connections between all things. You see the silver threads that link your breath to the swaying of the pines. You see the golden sparks that fly between your heart and the hearts of those you love. The universe is not a collection of separate objects, but a single, undulating fabric of energy. You are a stitch in that fabric, essential and perfectly placed. This sense of belonging is a warm, heavy blanket that settles over your mind, extinguishing the last embers of loneliness or alienation. The sensory details of the internal forest are becoming more vivid than the room around you. You can feel the slight chill of the night air on your face, a bracing, clean sensation that smells of ozone and wet stone. You can hear the deep, subterranean groans of the earth as it shifts in its sleep, a sound that provides a foundation of absolute stability. You are standing on ground that has been here for 300 million years, and that endurance is now your own. Your problems, which felt so mountainous earlier, are now seen as the moss that grows on the north side of a tree, a small, green detail of a much larger, much older story. A wave of profound introspection washes over you, a slow-moving tide that cleanses the hidden corners of your psyche. You think of the moments in your life when you felt most alive, most connected, and most whole. You realize that in every one of those moments, you were at the interface. You were in that state of flow where the self vanishes and only the experience remains. This meditation has not been a journey to a new place, it has been a journey back to that fundamental state of being. You are practicing the art of existing without apology. You are reclaiming the territory of your own stillness. The amber glow in your chest begins to pulse in a slow, hypnotic rhythm, drawing your attention down into the depths of your physical body. You feel the relaxation deepening in your toes, your ankles, your calves. It feels as if your legs have turned into cool, heavy river clay, merging with the bed. The relaxation moves up through your thighs and hips, releasing the deep-seated tensions of 1,000 miles of walking. Your abdomen becomes a soft, rising and falling landscape, a valley where the winds have died down. Your chest is a wide, open plateau, basking in the light of an inner moon. Your hands, those instruments of doing, are now curled into loose, abandoned shapes, having surrendered their grip on the world. You are moving through the final veil now, the thin, shimmering membrane that separates the meditation from the dream. The images of the glade, the pool, and the Witcher are beginning to liquefy, swirling together into a beautiful, abstract kaleidoscope of violet and gold. You are no longer a spectator watching a scene, you are the colors themselves. You are the movement. You are the light. There is no longer a you to experience the peace, there is only the peace, experiencing itself through the vessel of your sleeping form. In this state of total surrender, you feel a final, lingering touch of the Witcher's presence, a mental nod, a silent, well done. He is fading into the shadows of the hemlocks, his job finished, his vigil successful. He has transitioned you from the world of monsters to the world of magic, and now he allows you to go the rest of the way alone. You are ready. You are prepared. You are whole. The interface is a glowing horizon, and you are sailing toward it on a ship made of silence and starlight. The breath is a ghost. The heart is a distant echo. The mind is a clear, dark sky. You are the mountain. You are the ridge. You are the Pennsylvania night. Every cell in your body is resonating with the frequency of enough. You have done enough. You have been enough. You are enough. The world is safe. The garden is tended. The fire is out. You fall. You don't fall down, but into the soft, velvet center of your own soul. You fall into the infinite, restorative dark. You fall into the dream that has been waiting for you since the beginning of time. All is still. All is silent. All is as it should be. The interface is closed, and you are finally, beautifully, completely home. Sleep now, in the heart of the light. Sleep now, in the shadow of the atmospheric stillness of your room has transitioned into something more than mere absence of sound. It has become a thick, velvet presence that presses against your skin with the gentle insistence of a lover's touch. This is the density of the Pennsylvania night, a heavy, humid quiet that smells of ancient hemlock needles and the cold, metallic tang of the creek beds. You are no longer just lying on a mattress, you are suspended in a suspension of pure, unadulterated existence. Your body feels as if it is being recalibrated by the very geography of the ridges outside your window. The long, sloping lines of your muscles are mimicking the contours of the Allegheny Plateau, and the rhythmic, subterranean pulse of your heart is syncing with the slow, tectonic shifts of the sandstone deep beneath the topsoil. You are becoming a geological feature, a permanent part of the landscape that does not need to move, does not need to strive, and certainly does not need to worry. As you drift further into this state of hyper-awareness, your internal monologue begins to stretch and slow, the words elongating until they are merely vibrations of meaning. You are contemplating the sheer miracle of your own respiration. Each inhalation is a gift from the forest, a complex exchange of gases that links your bloodstream to the respiratory cycle of the oaks and the maples. You can almost feel the oxygen molecules entering your lungs like tiny, golden sparks, illuminating the dark caverns of your chest before being carried by the red rivers of your veins to the furthest outposts of your fingertips and toes. You are a biological masterpiece, a self-sustaining ecosystem that knows exactly how to heal itself if only given the chance to be still. This realization brings a wave of profound, cellular relief. You are giving yourself that chance right now. You are allowing the machinery of the day to grind to a halt so that the deeper, more ancient systems of restoration can take over. The image of the Witcher remains at the periphery of your consciousness, a silver-haired sentinel leaning against the rough bark of a sentinel tree. He is the personification of your own competence, the part of you that has spent the day navigating the moral complexities and physical demands of the world. But here, in the interface, even he is allowed to shed his armor. You see him unbuckling the leather straps of his breastplate, the metal clinking softly as it hits the mossy ground. He leans his silver sword, the one meant for monsters, against the white pine, acknowledging that there are no monsters here to slay. The only thing left for him to do is to watch the embers of the campfire die down into a soft, pulsing orange glow. By watching him rest, you are giving yourself permission to do the same. You are realizing that your strength is not just in your ability to fight, but in your ability to recover. The Witcher is your proxy in the world of action, and his current stillness is your mandate for peace. The amber light in your chest has now expanded to fill the entire volume of your torso, a warm, liquid radiance that feels like swallowed sunlight. This light is a solvent, dissolving the last stubborn knots of tension in your shoulders and the tiny, habitual frown lines between your brows. You feel your jaw unclench, your tongue dropping away from the roof of your mouth, your eyelids becoming so heavy that they feel like leaden shutters protecting the sanctuary of your inner vision. This light is not static, it flows with the intelligence of a river, seeking out the areas of your body that still hold the echoes of the day's stress. It flows into your lower back, soothing the nerves. It flows into your gut, calming the butterflies of anticipation. It flows into your brain, coating the jagged thoughts in a layer of shimmering, protective resin. You are being pampered by your own energy, nurtured by the very light you generated through your own intention. You find yourself standing once more at the edge of the amethyst pool, but the water has changed its consistency. It is no longer just liquid, it is a shimmering, viscous medium that holds the memory of every peaceful moment you have ever experienced. You reach out a foot and touch the surface, and instead of a splash, there is a low-frequency hum that vibrates up through your leg and settles in your hips. You step into the pool, and the violet water rises up to greet you, weightless and warm. As you submerge yourself, you feel the boundaries of your ego beginning to fray at the edges. The you that has a name, a job, and a history is being gently scrubbed away, leaving behind the you that is eternal, the you that existed before the first breath and will exist after the last. This is the ultimate bath, a purification in the waters of the interface. You are being washed clean of the world's expectations. The immersion is complete. Every fiber of your being has now transitioned from the frantic frequency of the day into the low, resonant thrum of the earth itself. You are no longer merely lying in a room in the Pennsylvania wilds. You have become the bedrock, the deep roots of the ancient hemlocks, and the silent, silver mist that clings to the jagged shoulders of the Allegheny ridges. The boundary between your breath and the night air has dissolved entirely, leaving only a single, unified field of existence that stretches from the marrow of your bones to the furthest, coldest star in the velvet sky. You feel the immense, structural integrity of your own skeleton as if it were a mountain range, a solid and unyielding architecture that has weathered 1,000 storms and remained standing, majestic and indifferent to the passage of time. Inside the sanctum of your mind, the amber light has reached its zenith, a sun that does not burn but nourishes, radiating a warmth that feels like the memory of a perfect summer afternoon held in the palm of a winter hand. This light is now the only thing that remains of your conscious will. It has successfully dissolved the jagged remains of your worries, turning the sharp shards of your daily anxieties into smooth, translucent grains of sand that settle harmlessly at the bottom of a deep, dark ocean. You watch these grains settle with a detached, celestial amusement. They are so small, so insignificant in the face of the vast, purple eternity that you have claimed for yourself. You are the architect of this peace, the sovereign of this stillness, and you realize that you have always held the key to this chamber. The Witcher, your inner guardian, has finally closed his eyes. He is no longer a figure of action, but a monument to rest. His white hair is a pale flame in the twilight of your subconscious, and his silver sword lies forgotten in the tall grass of the glade. In his slumber, he provides the ultimate protection, the evidence that the world is safe enough for even the warrior to sleep. You take this cue into the deepest parts of your heart. If he can rest, you can vanish. If he can let go of the hilt, you can let go of the world. The interface is no longer a thin membrane, it has expanded into a vast, welcoming gateway that leads into the realm of pure, unadulterated being. You are stepping through that gateway now, moving with the grace of a shadow crossing a forest floor. The amethyst pool has become a sea of liquid starlight, and as you float upon its surface, you feel the final vestiges of your physical weight evaporating. Your toes, your ankles, your knees, and your hips have all turned to light. Your spine is a column of cool, blue energy, and your head is a nebula of swirling gold. There is no longer any friction between you and the universe. You are a note that has been struck and is now fading into the infinite resonance of the cosmic hum. You are the silence that follows a great symphony, the peace that surpasses all understanding, the quiet that lives at the center of the storm. A final, deep pulse of gratitude ripples through your awareness, a silent acknowledgement of the beauty of this transition. You are home. You have returned to the source, to the 0 point where all things are born and all things return. The Pennsylvania night holds you in its massive, rocky arms, and the Witcher dreams of the same peace you are now entering. There is nothing left to do. There is nothing left to say. There is only the long, slow descent into the restorative dark. The journey is finished.